fan opinions brought to you by Wash and Go. Hello and welcome to FanPark Live. It is transfer deadline day, 24 hours before the English Premier League kicks off again. Joined in the studio today from some very illustrious guests. Very proud to introduce them to you. We have Hope Football in the house, Mr. DT. And introduce yourself, sir. Debut on FanPark Live.
David from Fan Chat TV.
David, that was a very clever way of me saying I forgot his name again, because I forget everybody's name. I have. But we're here to talk about the transfers that are going on here on deadline day. Arsenal still looking pretty active, gentlemen. Chelsea have had a massive 24 hours. Spurs not so much. Man United not so much. But we're going to start off straight away with Arsenal. DT came in and was excited because there was talks about Dembele coming in today to Arsenal. That's the big things going on. What's happening with that right now?
No idea.
No idea.
No idea. No idea. There was talk about half hour ago that we put in €100 million bid for him. David Ornstein's come out and said that it's nonsense. So someone's lying. And we don't know who. But it's not the first time Ornstein's got it wrong. I remember when we signed Mikel Arteta, he turned around and said that the deal was off, completely off. And people have actually been retweeting that from how many years ago? Yeah. Just to show that he does get it wrong. But I don't know. I think it's too short notice to get it done, to be honest with you. Way too short notice. But you can get a 2-hour extension. You can. I get the sense there's going to be some loan deals done, though. I feel like some of these deals that are like sort of, especially with clubs that are based in sort of Spain, France, etc. I think there could be a situation where teams don't get the deals done by 5, but over the next day or two, we might see some of these guys come on season-long loans with options to buy.
I mean, I think because that's what DT said. I think they've left it too late with the Dembele thing, because literally this just materialized like yesterday. So for this to really happen, it's had to have been going on for like a few days. And also remember, like Dembele strangely actually wants to leave Barcelona because of Malcolm coming in. So he does want to actually leave because he feels that Valverde isn't really sort of like, you know, like wanting him to actually be part of his setup. But at the same time, does Valverde want to lose a Dembele? Because you need a squad. And again, Malcolm, we don't really know how good it's going to be. So I'm not sure whether he'll want to lose Dembele as part of his squad.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, Dembele leaving. I mean, Arsenal, look, massive football club, great exposure into the Premier League. Is he not being a bit premature in himself, though, looking to leave Barcelona already? I mean, no disrespect, but joining Arsenal, joining any Premier League team now over Barcelona, is that not a slight step down?
I mean, but he's going to get game time at Arsenal. Is he going to get game time? Like, if Malcolm does really well, Coutinho does really well, is he going to have that game time? Because Barcelona have a very fixed system. You got to have Suarez, Messi, then Malcolm and Dembele are going to be fighting for that spot. Whereas at Arsenal, he's going straight into the first team.
You've got to remember as well, all his mates are at Arsenal. That's a big thing. Yeah. The whole Borussia Dortmund connection with the likes of Aubameyang and everything. You only have to look at last week, the picture that emerged last week of Dembele was at Aubameyang's house having dinner with Lacazette, Mkhitaryan. So there's that side of things as well. And there has been talk that he feels a little unloved, shall we say, at Barcelona, a little left out, not in Messi's good books, because we all know if Messi don't like you, then bye-bye. So maybe that kind of, you know, what he felt at Dortmund, that love and that, you know, maybe that's what might pull him in as well.
Yeah, I think in terms of like Dembele moving to Arsenal, like the connection between, like DT said, between Aubameyang and Lacazette, I mean, I think he can form a wicked partnership there, like unreal partnership. You know, with those two guys in that squad. I
agree. Look, I've said it a long time with Arsenal. They've got two of the best strikers in the world in their team. And Lacazette, I think he got so much stick last year. And like, I put any underperforming player over the last few years at Arsenal down to the leadership of Arsene Wenger. If you're going to have, you know, if you're going to have your banners and you're going to have your protests, you're going to have the stadium half empty, you've got to think the manager's a big part of that. So I think Lacazette, needs another, his second season might be better. He's settling in a new country. He's got a new manager now. But then, as you mentioned, Aubameyang, the fastest Arsenal player to score 10 goals in the Premier League in history. And that was, again, in a failing Arsenal team that couldn't win away from home.
And you got to remember the players that he was playing with at that time as well, because we prioritised the Europa League at that moment, knowing we couldn't get fourth place. So where all the main players were playing on a Thursday and he wasn't allowed to play because he was cup tied. When it came to the Premier League games, all those big players like your Ozils and whatnot were all being rested.
Yeah.
So Aubameyang was having to play with Danny Welbeck, people like that.
Yeah, and also as well, I think Dembele actually fits Arsenal's system far better than Barcelona's system. Because, you know, like with Messi, everything involves around Messi, and you've really got to keep the ball, and Dembele is very direct. So I think under Emery, with the kind of team that they have, where I think they're going to have Lacazette and Aubameyang, I think Dembele will be actually encouraged to move with the ball, dribble, lose the ball, but dribble ball. For Barcelona, you can't lose the ball many times. You have to keep the ball. So I think Dembele, with the way he plays, suits Arsenal more than Barcelona.
I understand that. When you look at Arsenal's transfer window overall, though, like DT, I mean, I know yourself and a lot of Arsenal fans are really encouraged with Torreira. He had a really good World Cup. I mean, I have to admit, I didn't watch him much at Sampdoria. I can't say I sat there and watched anything of him play. I just read reports on him. He's very exciting. I think, obviously, Socrates, for me, I think he's a really good centre-back. And I think that to get him for like £40 million, massive. How encouraged have you been with the work done by Emery and the Arsenal board this summer?
Given the budget we've got, I'm encouraged, but I still feel a little underwhelmed. Like there's just a piece missing. Something to just really take us to a different level. I think that Man City are ahead of everyone by a mile in the league. Liverpool are the closest challengers. And then behind them, the next four sides, Arsenal, Manchester United, Chelsea, Tottenham, any two of those four can finish third and fourth and be in the top four. It's that close between them. Because I don't think there's a lot between the squads and the way that they play. And, you know, we look at Manchester United, we only have to look at what's been going on with them during pre-season. People can sit there and say it's pre-season, but is that how you want to prepare for a new season? I think there's underlying problems at Manchester United that just...
It's an interesting... We'll talk more Man United later, but I think it's an interesting one. What I would say about all pre-seasons is that I remember getting really... I think the way that the clubs themselves, the TV networks and the sponsors promote pre-season now, it's starting to take... It feels like people take it as a real... These tournaments seem quite important. But I remember... they're not, but I remember... I remember LVG. I mean, we literally... LVG's final season, in pre-season, we beat... But not only beat them on score, we outplayed Real Madrid, Liverpool. We beat all the top teams in Europe. And I remember how excited United fans were. And then 4 days later, we lost to Swansea at home in the opening day of the season. And we barely won in the opening couple of months. And it was like... Yeah, that was my moment where I was like, pre-season, for me, just it doesn't mean much. And I think, as you say, what I would say is, when you compare Man United to Arsenal as an example, things seem very, from a fan's point of view, fans look very stable, they look very happy. And you haven't seen that at Arsenal Football Club for a long time. And normally it's your opening game of the season, with the window still open, where everybody kicks off if it doesn't go particularly well. Do you feel with, let's say, the window that you've had, and the preparation and the way pre-season has gone, you're still both Arsenal fans, do you feel like even if the season doesn't start off well, do you still think there'll be an element of calmness amongst Gooners?
100%.
I think in terms of the opening two fixtures, you could see the opening two fixtures as, you know, quite a challenge based upon, you know, the players and the new signs come in. But I think, you know, Arsenal will have that kind of like that light that want to go into those games and really, show their, the top performing quality based on the, Unai Emery's preparation on the pre-season, and, the midfield Torreira, Guendouzi coming in as well. I think they could be a real force, to be reckoned this season, and Man City will see that as a challenge in the first game as well.
I do. The thing is, do you know what? This is probably the best I've seen us prepared for a season in a long time. One of our biggest problems with Wenger was that we were never prepared. We had so many players missing come the start of the window. Yes, we've been helped by the fact that a lot of our players didn't get selected for the World Cup. The likes of Lacazette, for example. Mesut Ozil finishing early with Germany. Aubameyang, the fact he plays for Gabon and they're not in the World Cup. Things like this have helped us. And I feel that it's actually fell into place just right with a new manager, because it's meant Emery's got longer with them. They've had longer to implement his ideas. Now, I've been all throughout the pre-season. I went over to Singapore, went to Ireland, went to Sweden, and I watched these games. And I was taking a lot of attention to what Emery was doing, what his assistant was doing, what the players were doing, and I can see the difference in our style of play already. Whereas sometimes the old us comes back, and defensively we still look a little bit dodgy, and they do worry me. But I can slowly start to see already parts of our game changing. The sideways stuff seems to be stopping. Everything's more intensive, more forward thinking. The moment we get the ball, it's not slowing it down, coming sideways. It's fast. We're pressing higher up the pitch, and we're pressing in packs. And we know when to press and when not to press. And if a certain player is not pressing with the rest of them, whereas beforehand with us, our biggest problem was one would press, two would drop, or two would press one, and then we'd get caught out and exposed all over the place. On the sidelines, you've got Emery or Juan Carlos screaming at a player that's not doing what he's supposed to be doing, so he then immediately joins the pack. You know what I mean? So little things like that, you're slowly starting to see it. I'm not stupid, it's not going to happen overnight. We're not going to win the league, and we're not going to walk away with things, and it's a longer project. So,
and I think what you say there is right. I mean, I don't know if any of you watched. We did sort of top 6 season previews. We did on for the Ultimate Football Fan, and they were on my channel, the Football Terrace, as well. And we had Ty and Claude in here, and Ty. It literally, the contrast between the two is amazing, because you've got Ty that kind of I tried to play devil's advocate and say, you know, how long it would be too long to give this manager. Ultimately, Emery's coming in to try and win Arsenal the league again. You're a giant club. Your aim has got to be to become champions of England again as a bare minimum. And I was like, well, how long is too long? And he kind of said as long as it takes. And I was like, so you let him have 22 years again? And he's like, his contract's not for 22 years. I said, yeah, but you said as long as it takes, which means it will keep getting renewed. The other hand, you've got Claude that's like, we should be, this season, he said you should be title challengers. And I get the sense with Claude, he could, if it doesn't go well early on, you could have people like Claude that could be wanting a new manager out instantly. You could have someone, like your ties, again, are just going to give this manager maybe blind support. And I think what you're saying, DT, is right. And I don't know where you sit on this, Dave, as a Gooner. Getting that balance right is so important, because for me, it is I would say at least 2 years until you start to judge in terms of whether he should stay or go. You can assess every game, of course you can, but in terms of, you can think about this big mess that Wenger created, and still some of it's going on with the board. It's going to take a long while to undo all this, right?
I think in terms of the long-term projects, I think Emery's a great man for the job. I think what he done with Sevilla in terms of Europa League or UEFA Cup, winnings. I think with Emery, looking as a long-term project, I think it'd be a great job in terms of getting the players right, getting the players set for big challenges, like I was saying before with Man City. And honestly, throughout looking at it for a whole season, I could honestly say that from my experience watching La Liga as part of Real Madrid fan as well, when he was there based in Sevilla, he gave a lot of the top teams troubles. A lot of top teams troubles.
Yeah, I mean, but he did. He did well in the Europa League and in the Cups, but I think he got beaten badly, especially by Barcelona. And I think look, he's a good manager, but I think a lot of people have said that based on how talented that Sevilla team was, he didn't do well enough in the league. And I think league-wise, he didn't really do well enough, because I think with the kind of talent, he had some really good players at their peak at Sevilla. I think he could have given Barcelona and Real Madrid more of a game, and I think he could have actually really pushed them. Basically, he should have done better than Atletico Madrid did. So that's why I just think that
you can't really do much against Real Madrid and Barcelona though.
No, I'm not. I mean, look at what Atletico did, winning the league, and they've been the team. And I think the team he had, man for man, was actually more talented than the Atletico team that won the league. So,
I think we've got a better manager than Chelsea.
See, that's the interesting bit. We're going to go to some live, some calls in a minute from some fans, and we'll touch on Chelsea after a few calls. But it's interesting because you've got Sarri coming in, you've got Emery that's now there. There's already Pep and Klopp. You've got Pochettino. You've now got Silva, Everton. You've got a lot of these teams now that are wanting to play this sort of high press, expansive football. You've got one team up and around that top 6 echelon that are playing something completely different at Manchester United. We know that. It's almost a case of it's not all, but the thing is, not everyone who's trying to play the Klopp, the sort of high press style of football, it's not going to work for everybody, and that's going to be an interesting dynamic next season. For me, it might click at all these teams, but at some point something's got to give, because you can't. For me, you're not going to get 6 teams in a league. You never have done in any league any time playing like Guardiola does, or like Napoli were under Sarri. So someone's going to fail at their mission of implementing this, and that's going to be an interesting conundrum. Jay, we ready with calls? We've got some calls coming through now, and we'll see what people have got to say.
Here we go.
Yeah, it's always a fun bit. Fan favourite. I know that is then. Hello, welcome to FanPark Live.
Hi,
Hi, who's this?
Noah.
Hello, Noah. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. You?
I'm very well. How has your summer been since the World Cup ended, young man?
Yeah, good. I'm at Edinburgh Festival currently.
Oh, well, very nice. Very, very nice. What was your question? What would you like to say?
Again, I'll CT something.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Yeah, well, about what you were saying about how Wenger took 22 years to get rid of and all of that, and about the fact that you're saying kind of the fact that you're really excited for the season. Surely, if we don't get these two signings that you want, a centre back and a winger, and you made that very clear that we need those two, surely this window's been a failure. Do you agree or do you disagree now?
It hasn't been a failure because we've needed a lot of work doing and we've near enough done it. But the difference is that we've got a new manager, new ideas, new tactics, new approach, and we haven't got the same old boring, stale dinosaur that we've had for the last 20 odd years.
We needed a defender though.
We needed a defender.
Because Koscielny is trash.
At the end of the day, we could have gone out and spent £80 million on Koulibaly and he could have flopped. You never know. You never know. So Socrates could end up being one of the signings of the summer. Yeah. We don't know. Torreira, he looks the absolute bollocks. I still feel that we need a winger and another defender, but it doesn't mean that I think that we've failed in the market. I just feel a little underwhelmed and that we may not, because I want a challenge now. I'm greedy. I've spent so long watching the crap that I've had to watch under Wenger for the last few years that I'm greedy and I'm like, no, I want it now. I'm getting no younger as a person, so...
Yeah. How do you feel, Noah?
Yeah, I'm feeling... Well, as an Arsenal fan, because, I mean, I'm a lot younger than you, but as an Arsenal fan, I feel like, yeah, I agree, we do need a challenge. I feel like we also need to do something better than we did last season. So if it's top four, no trophy, I'll consider that, but I do want a trophy and top four, minimum, if I really want to put it like that. I feel like if we don't challenge, then nothing's really changed. So I get we've got players, I get we've got a new manager and everything like that, but I just don't think things have changed. So I think we do need to get Dembele. I don't know how that's possible, considering there's less than 2 hours left of the window, and if it was going to happen, it would have happened already, in my opinion. But you know, anything can happen. We signed Aubameyang pretty much last minute, even though people said it was going to happen. And I mean, I'm really excited for next season, but I feel like we do need these two positions to be sorted out, the centre back and winger, for us to be really excited as Arsenal fans. Like if we get Vida and if we get Ousmane Dembele, I think it will really sum things up to be a good window and a good summer for Arsenal. But if we don't, then it will just be kind of a good summer, but like not the perfect summer that we would have needed as Arsenal after the 22 years of what you could call, you know, partly good times and partly also. You know, like bad times,
Yeah. No, I absolutely hear what you're saying, mate. Thank you very much for your call. I think what's interesting with what he was saying there, it's one thing that was in my mind at the start of the summer though for Arsenal was the fact that if so much of what was to blame at the club was down to Wenger, and that's how the majority of Arsenal fans made me feel, there is also an air of caution in terms of selling too many individuals and buying too many, where maybe some of the current squad just need an opportunity under a new manager, because if Wenger was the reason that they were so bad, does it not stand to reason that some players might instantly improve under the new coach? And I think something that maybe Moyes didn't really get a chance, but if we look at another, I think Man United and Arsenal are comparable because you had two extremely long-standing managers. Maybe something that went wrong under LVG, maybe even the start of Jose's campaign, too many players in and out. Maybe there should have been more of a time where actually let's see what I can do with the current squads rather than bringing in 5 or 6, selling 5 or 6, and it's almost a completely new squad, and that might take a little bit longer to embed everybody.
I said that as well. I said that there's certain players I'd give a season to. Certain players that I would like to see under Emery. I even said Hector Bellerin. People know my thoughts on him. But I said I'd like to see him under Emery for a year.
What about Xhaka?
Same as well. I love Xhaka. I think that he was mismanaged by Arsene Wenger. I think that he was played in the wrong position. He's not a defensive midfielder. I think that the signing of Torreira will only help him and actually show what he can do. Watch Xhaka when he goes and plays for Switzerland. Looks a completely different player. Alex Iwobi,
but is he a top player? Would you say Xhaka is a top?
I do think he is, but he's just been mismanaged, and we will find out this season. And Emery will give him it. You look at Alex Iwobi when he goes and plays for Nigeria. I watched that guy walking through Argentina's defence, but yeah, at Arsenal, he doesn't look like he can hit a barn door with a banjo. It's like, what's actually going on? So you've got to look at it and say something's not right somewhere. So Emery will look at a lot of these players and say, and he's already looked at certain ones and said, nah, sorry, out the door. Lucas Perez, he's gone to West Ham now. Jack Wilshere, the offer was there, but no, we've got other options. If you want to go, bye-bye. And he's got rid of all the people where he said, nah, you're just not my cup of tea. And he's got some where he's gone, you deserve a year. You know, I'll watch you over the course of this. And obviously, you've got to remember as well, that he will have seen these in training. Yeah. So when he's watching them in training, is enough for him to go, yeah, you know what, I've got a player there, I can do something about him. And already, do you know what, when I was in Sweden the other day, and we played Lazio, Iwobi was one of our best players for 60 minutes. Down that left-hand side, he was superb. He looked like the Alex Iwobi that started at Arsenal when he first broke onto the scene. And I even said it on Arsenal Fan TV. I was like, wow, I said, Iwobi, he looked really good today. He looks a little trimmer, where I think before he put a bit of weight on his backside and on the front and everything, but he looks a bit trimmer. He looks a bit more determined as well, because there's that side of it as well you've got to look at, where players, new manager, maybe not get away with the things that they used to get away with before.
Well, the discipline thing is interesting, because when Oxlade-Chamberlain first went to Liverpool, and then vice versa when Alexis went to Man United, both clubs had to put those individual players on a 6-week intensive fitness training regime, because they felt they didn't meet their club's fitness standards. There had to be two players coming out who, one had just completed pre-season and played games, and Alexis Sanchez had been actually playing regularly for Arsenal up until that point. Again, you go back to the Wenger situation. If there was an issue with discipline, an issue with fitness, it stands to reason that players maybe put on a few pounds. It stands to reason why someone like Lacazette started off quickly and then faded as the season went on, because maybe his fitness levels dropped, maybe, you know, and
he played with an injury for a month.
Okay, there we go. These things happen, and when you have a bad culture, whether it's football, whether it's business, culture seeps in very quickly, and it can hold people back massively. It really, really can. Jay, we got any more calls? Yeah, just turn it up a little bit your end. They're perfect. Thank you. We've got some more calls coming through now, and then we're going to move on to Chelsea.
Oh, great.
Hello, welcome to FanPark Live. What's your name? Hello?
Hello?
You can speak? Hello, what's your name?
Luke.
Luke, how you doing, mate? Who do you support?
Arsenal.
Arsenal. Good, good. What's on your mind? What would you like to say?
Well, what do you reckon our chances are this season of winning the league?
Top 4.
No, that's what I think. Arsenal can get top 4, because I said that Arsenal are making 4th, and I'm saying United and Tottenham are going to drop out.
I initially said in the podcast before that I think they can get top 3.
I said this to you earlier on, that I feel that the difference between Arsenal, Chelsea, Man United, Tottenham, there's not a lot. There's not a lot, and all it takes is a bit of luck, few results, and the difference between you finishing 3rd or 6th.
It's an interesting one. I got it wrong last year, but I think we're going to get to this stage. But it might take a bit longer because of how far in front City are. But I actually think that you could get to a stage in the next few years where between 1st and 6th might only be separated by 10 points.
Oh no, for sure.
That's what it becomes. I still think Arsenal might miss out on top 4, but I don't think it will be a failure of a season. And I say that because I think Arsenal will score more goals, they'll win more points, they'll play better football. I just think there could be a case of everybody above them
just doing better.
Also improve slightly as well. I think you're going to start to see now the top 6 really break away even further from everybody else below them. But that's what I keep imploring Arsenal fans in terms of don't jump into this like habit of becoming like a Chelsea, or you know, okay, manager hasn't got what we wanted straight away. This sack him. What do you think yourself, Luke? Where do you think you'll end up?
I personally think Arsenal finish 2nd.
Yeah. No, he's agreeing with me.
I mean, mate, look, you're crazy. That's crazy.
At the end of the day, yeah,
That's crazy.
at the end of the day, right,
Yeah.
we're more settled now than Chelsea are. We're more settled than Man United.
Yeah.
But second,
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying in terms of the four of us that can push on to those top two, we're the more settled out of them. You look at Spurs, they've not spent a single penny. They're never going to be able to bridge the gap between them and Man City by buying no one, right? They're moving to a new stadium. They're over £400 million in debt. Trust me, as someone who's experienced it, it's not easy. Chelsea, they got a new manager. They got players...
and Hazard.
Loads of players in key areas where they've all got to gel. Like their whole central area around Kante at Chelsea is now completely different.
Yeah.
So they've got to gel. Hazard, does he want to go? Is his heart really in it? Does he want to be there? How's this new goalkeeper going to deal with the price tag on his head of being the most expensive goalkeeper in the world?
Yeah, great. I think all those points.
So all them things.
I
And
get
you've got to
them.
remember, and Sarri as well. He's never won a trophy as a manager, ever.
Look, I actually don't
no,
think
but
Chelsea
still-
are making
but
top
still,
four
no,
either.
I'm saying
That does make
on
some
that.
sense. He was with Napoli, and you're in a league where Juventus have won the league like 7, 8
I know, but
times
they
in a
finished
row.
runners up.
Luke, thank you for your call.
What
But
are they
he's
going to
without-
be? But what are they going to be?
I actually don't.
Let's be the Italian Tottenham.
That makes no sense, man.
We
That
put the
makes no
pressure on.
sense.
Yeah.
What makes no sense?
People criticize Sarri and they hold it against him that he's never won a trophy. Look at the facts. Juventus' squad is far better than everyone else in the Serie A. Also, Inter Milan, Roma have way more money than Napoli. Man for man are better than Napoli, and Napoli finishes better than Roma and Inter Milan as well. So it is crazy to hold it against them when a team has completely dominated the league for so long, both cup-wise and league-wise. So
Yes,
it makes
but Sarri's been a manager for about 15 years, and he hasn't been at Napoli for 15 years. And what you say is, you talk about Emery, he was in a league that was completely dominated by Barcelona and by Real Madrid and whatnot, but yet he still went out there and won trophies. He still went off and won the Europa
Do you know
League
how good
3
that
years in a
Sevilla
row.
team was?
I'm not disagreeing. I
But
think
you still got to win it. You still got to win
No,
the
no,
trophy.
I get that.
I
don't-
win 3 Europa Leagues in a row. I'm sorry, that's just
It's
that's a serious.
I think
good
both
achievement.
managers.
Arsenal are not coming second. I'm not telling you right now. They're not sitting second.
Arsenal finishing above Chelsea.
You think?
No.
Yeah.
that's
Well,
not.
maybe you can be
Yeah,
fifth.
I
You're going to be
100%
sixth.
agree as
That's
well.
not going to happen.
Arsenal
100%
finishing
agree.
above Chelsea.
We also got to think it.
These guys, they're getting so overhyped from Emery. Like after the first 5
You're getting
games,
hyped over
let's see what happens. Let's see what happens.
Sarri ball. There's nothing. Suck my balls.
Listen. Hazard is still Hazard is still the best
so you
player in
think-
the Premier League. Fact. That's a fact.
No, I'm sorry.
No, that's a
Sorry,
fact.
bruv.
That's a fact.
That's a fact. That's an opinion. That's an opinion.
Hazard
opinion.
is
How?
ability-wise, Hazard is the best player in the Premier League.
Ability-wise.
Ability-wise, he's not.
Can we get
How can you argue
Taxi.
that?
Can we
How
get a
can you argue
drugs
that?
test, please?
Ability-wise, Hazard is the
Drugs
best
test.
player in the Premier League.
Better than who?
Who is?
He's not better than Paul Pogba. He's
Yes,
not
he
better
is.
than Alexis Sanchez.
Yes.
He's not better than
that-
Aubameyang.
That is crazy, Terry. You're being.
He's not
to
better than
say he's
Harry
not better
Kane.
than Sanchez. It's crazy. That's
He's
you
not
being
better than
biased.
Sanchez.
Can I
That's
get,
actually
can I,
being
right,
biased.
everyone,
Frank
can I
Lampard
get,
is
can I,
trash.
wait, can I get involved in this one, right? Because everyone knows my thoughts now of Alexis, right? I can't stand the guy, and I hope bad things happen to his dogs. But,
Animal cruelty.
but what I'm saying
There's
is,
an animal
but what
rights
I'm
march
what
here.
I'm saying is, right, is that whilst he was at Arsenal, he was exceptional. And if you compare the statistics over Alexis and Eden Hazard, Alexis pissed
my
all
God,
over
stats.
it. all
Yeah,
day
but
long.
your
wow.
man might potentially be the best, but he's never proved it. And the difference is you can have all the potential in the world.
Do you know when he
Who was the
agreed
best
it?
player?
Do you know
at
when
the World-
Hazard will
Who was
agree
one
it?
of the best players at the World Cup? Be real. Who was one of the best players at the World Cup?
Who was one of the best?
Yeah.
Eden Hazard was one of the best.
Thank you.
Yeah, but Paul Pogba was better at player of the tournament.
I know,
And he smashed it in the final.
Pogba's
Pogba
been
was better
playing.
than Hazard.
Yeah, Pogba's been playing excellent, yeah.
Listen, people know my thoughts on Pogba as well, and anything connected to Manchester United. Pogba was seriously good, and I can see why he maybe wants to get away from Manchester United because
That switch pass he did
he's
to
seen-
Mbappe in the final was ridiculous.
Listen, Pogba was brilliant.
I mean,
in
he's
that
goal
tournament.
in the final.
Ridiculous.
Just like,
No, it was-
don't get me wrong, I'm not being disingenuous. Eden Hazard is a top player. However, for me, he doesn't deliver regularly enough. And I'm not talking.
It's
I don't care about the
inconsistency.
assists and the goals as such. I'm talking
If you're
about,
talking about
running
if you're
games.
talking about players of the tournament, you could probably say that Kieran Trippier had a better tournament than Eden Hazard.
Yeah. Did Hazard make the team in the tournament? Did he make the team in the tournament?
No,
Because
he
Ashley
didn't.
Young did.
No. He made no. That was fake. That team was
How
fake.
the
I think it was
hell
fake.
did that
Oh, was that a
happen?
fake team? Was was it?
It was fake. It was fake.
Okay, cool. We've got a call waiting. We're going to take a call here. So we're going to take
That's crazy, man.
20 calls. Right, we'll do some quick fire calls. We'll get them done. 20 calls. Hello, welcome to FanPark Live. What's your name?
My name is Dave.
Hello, Dave. Who do you support, mate?
Man United.
Cool. What's on your mind? What do you want to say?
I'm just worried, to be honest with you.
Why are you worried?
Yeah, because when you look at Arsenal, when you look at Chelsea, City, they look much stronger than last year.
Yep.
And with Man United, I can't say the same thing. I really can't.
Okay. So.
I think we're going to struggle to get to the top 4.
Wow. Okay.
Wow.
It's real.
Big statement.
It's real.
No, and I understand the concerns. What's gone wrong this summer then, from a Man United point of view? Where has it gone wrong?
Everything.
Divulge.
I think we're just not good. I don't think we're just good enough. I don't think we've got the players are not good enough. We're gonna play with the same players. We're gonna play with Young on the left. We're gonna play with John Smalling on in the back. The midfield is not good enough. Also, I think so. And we just didn't.
The midfield.
get
I mean, the
players that we
midfield.
wanted.
So you don't think?
Fellaini and Herrera.
Okay, well they're back up. So at Man United's
Pogba, we're talking
midfield, Man United starting. If we start with a 3-man midfield of Fred, Matic, and Paul Pogba, it's hard to get like. Would you say that's not a bad midfield?
No, that's.
Is it good enough to win anything? Is it good enough to win the league or to win the Champions League?
If Pogba
No.
plays high, he will.
Well, it depends what so some of the players have got. I think, with Man United, I think it's an interesting one. It's like it depends how certain players turn up and how they perform moving into the year.
You can even see last year we had Pogba, we had Herrera, we had Matic, and we still wasn't good enough.
No doubt. They weren't good enough to win the league. 19 points off of City. That needs to be reduced this year.
And do you think the one signing that we made, just Fred, is it enough to do better than last year? I just don't think so.
No, I agree with you. I would have liked more. However, there's another side to it where I just think, okay, we haven't got the players we want. There's been some players used during pre-season that Jose's been very impressed with vocally. So the likes of Andreas Pereira, who had a very good season at Valencia. I watched him play in a more deep-lying role, which Michael Carrick and Jose Mourinho moulded him into during the summer, and he looked very, very good, even against some of the better sides. So I think him playing alongside the likes of Matic, Fred, and Pogba could be really interesting. And so go on.
You really think he's going to get enough chances? Because I don't think. I think Fellaini's going to play most of the time.
Well, Fellaini didn't play most of the time last year, so people are making up this nonsense.
I don't think Fellaini.
He did play in the most important game in the Champions League.
He did start in that game. So again, what you're doing is you're taking one big example that stands out in everybody's minds and making up a fact which isn't true, that he started the majority of the game, which he didn't. And if you listen to, you go through he's going to start tomorrow night, Andreas Pereira. I'm absolutely sure of it. He started every pre-season game. For him to now miss out would be very weird. And it's about what he does. If he starts playing well, Jose's not going to drop him. It's as simple as that. But I understand your concerns. Go on.
What about left back? What about Young?
Well, look, again, Man United tried to sign some left-backs. The last one we'll touch on this. They tried to sign some left-backs.
And Luke Shaw ate them.
yeah, it's true. We made 2 signings. Look, Luke Shaw, for me, he's got a bit like we were talking about Hazard a minute ago. All the ability in the world, but he's obviously Hazard's better. Don't calm down. But he doesn't deliver well enough. I'm comfortable with Ashley Young having another year in a left-back position. It's not ideal. What do you mean, nah?
No, I don't think we can challenge for the title with Ashley Young on the left.
Yeah, but nor do I. I mean, I don't think we're going to challenge for the title anyway.
But we should.
But that's not like. But what we? Yeah, okay, we probably should do. However, the issue I'm saying here is.
It's not Jose's first season. It's like the third one.
No, I get that, but Jose's also not responsible for the board not signing these players, is he?
When he came, we thought like, okay, 1 season, 2 seasons, but the third season he has to be really good, and I don't think it's going to be good.
No, I understand your point, but at the same time, this is the bit that's frustrated me this summer is that you've just if Jose did what you and the other fans are doing and going, oh, we haven't got good enough left backs. If Jose said that out loud, we'd criticise him for not having faith in his players. So why don't the fans have faith in their players?
Good.
Like, how would how much better do you think players feel when the fans go, do you know what, we don't need any left back, we've got you. And I'll get your point. I'd like a world-class left-back. I like world-class players in every position. But there comes a point where you have to say, this is what we've got. Let's get behind them and support them. If what we do every 10 minutes is just slag them off, that's going to impact them in a negative way. And I don't see the mileage in it. I don't see how it improves the club. And your title, your part and your role within Man United is to support them. And to support them means to put your arm around them.
100%. I will support them. It's just the thing. I just don't think we're going to win anything.
And you're entitled to have that opinion.
100%. It's not that about it. I will, but it's just my opinion about the squad and about everything.
Good.
He's 100% right. I totally agree with him. Man United are shit.
Cheers to your call. Thank you very much. Look, I get everything you're saying. We're going to move more into Man United later on in the show, but the callers come in, they can speak about what they want. And I get the frustrations. It's just one of those things I sort of sit there and think, people are really, like Man United fans especially, are panicking massively, and I think that
they have to panic. Like,
there's no reason to panic.
There is no reason to panic. Or is it the team in general? Or
you have to panic.
About what? About what?
There are parallels.
What parallels? What parallels?
There are strikingly scary parallels between this pre-season and his pre-season during the third season in the second spell with Chelsea. Now, I know that pre-seasons doesn't really mean anything.
Where he completely fell off.
So basically, pre-seasons were like, they lost most of the games. He was complaining that he was not going to buy anyone. He was being very grumpy. It is almost identical how he was during that third season.
That's why I spend a lot of my time, not just reading what the media says, but I spend a lot of time actually watching his press conferences, actually watching and listening and seeing what's going on behind the scenes. The fact that many players have come out in full support. I mean, it's an interesting thing. So when a journalist has come out this summer and said, I've seen Jose, he looks grumpy, it's all falling apart. Everyone's like, that's the gospel truth. Why? Because it backs up your theory of third season syndrome, or you don't like Jose. There is Lukaku come out and said how wonderful his relationship is with Jose, how he texts him, how they have fun, funny messages, jokes, pictures. Suddenly the same Man United fans are like, he's been paid to say that. It's like you're not willing to have anything positive that's come out has been shut down as a lie, as propaganda, as just good PR. Everything negative that's come out has been gospel truth. And my point is, there's been some things Jose's done this summer that I'll go, don't like that. Equally, I'm not panicking because I know most of it's media bullshit.
Instead of talking about Man United anymore, let's take some calls.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Jay, whenever you're ready, mate. Hello, welcome to FanPark Live. What's your name?
My name's Matthew.
Matthew, how you doing?
I'm alright.
Good. Who do you support?
I support Arsenal.
Good. What do you want to say?
I want to talk to you about the takeover Arsenal by Kroenke. What do you guys think of that?
DT, over to you. Go on. Kroenke's takeover.
Do you know what? We're going to have to just see how it pans out for the next season. We've got to, because there's no point in protesting right now. There's no point in, causing that kind of, animosity around the club. Everything's really happy and nice and great at the moment. So let's just see how things go over the course of the next few months, and let's see what their intention really is. Let's see if Ivan Gazidis does go to Milan, and let's see if Josh Kroenke takes over as CEO. From what I've seen of Josh over the last 6 months or so, I've actually been quite impressed with him. He's the one that actually pushed Arsene Wenger out the door.
Yes.
So,
Very true.
He came over here and he done a lot of things. Is he in that mindset of where he wants to impress Daddy, and he doesn't want his first real big outing to be a failure? I know he's been kind of involved in 2 of the teams in America at the moment, and they seem to be starting to turn things around as well. So I think there's a big difference between Josh and Stan. Stan's getting no younger. Maybe he's starting to loosen the reins a little bit. He's got his own little things to worry about with a new stadium in America and whatnot, so he lets Josh take control, which is why he let Josh take the reins for 3 months last year. Josh actually moved to London, rented an apartment and stayed there for 3 months to watch and see everything that was going on from the training ground to the pitch, match days, the crowd, you name it, and he decided enough was enough and it was time for Arsene Wenger to go, and there was no sentiment involved. So you've got to give him that benefit of the doubt. The money side of things is what worries me, because where does it seem to all keep going? In terms of Kroenke owning the club 100%, we're losing the old values of Arsenal Football Club, which is something that's, pretty deep down, affects a lot of people. And there was fans that had shares within the club. My dad was one of them. And they've automatically got to give them up, and they've got to sell them. They'll make 29 grand or so out of them when they pay peanuts for them, but it's not about that, because at the end of the day, the reason why they've had them is because, not for money, but because it's something that you passed down through generations and generations, and it's to be a part of the football club.
Does it also mean that if you, well, I assume it does, if you give them up, things like the shareholders meetings where you guys get to attend, they're all going to be behind closed doors?
No, there won't be AGMs.
If you're not on public sale,
Arsenal will have to release their financial records and everything else for the public to see and whatnot, but they're not accountable to anyone anymore. Stan Kroenke can do whatever he wants, say whatever he wants, take what he wants. They can also load debt onto Arsenal Football Club for other businesses.
A London premium property like that, you can
and a lot of Liverpool fans have been in contact with me and said that it seems very similar to the whole Hicks and Gillette thing that happened before they got pushed out of the door. But like I said, over the last year we've signed the likes of Aubameyang, Lacazette and Mkhitaryan, Torreira. We've been spending money. We've got rid of Arsene Wenger. We've upgraded the training facilities. We've upgraded the backroom staff and the goalkeeping coaches to the physios. A lot has happened in the last year at Arsenal Football Club, and a lot of it seems to have gone unnoticed by some people, and they forget that. So what we need to do as fans is just take stock for a bit, think about it. I'm not happy about it, don't get me wrong, and I flew off the handle yesterday, but now I have a chance to sit back. I'm sitting there saying, what are we going to get if we protest? Nothing. The only thing that actually affects Stan Kroenke is empty seats. Yeah, which ultimately was what cost Arsene Wenger his job. So what we do, we're filling the stadiums now. We're filling. Sunday's going to be absolutely rocking in the Emirates, and I can guarantee everyone is behind Emery and the team 100%. And I've seen all of that. But what I'm saying is that as the season goes on, we start falling at the wayside. If we need players in January and they're not offering up the money, and then you might start to see the fans slowly start turning.
Do you know what I think comes down to? Whether people are happy or sad, if results and trophies are coming in and people are happy with the football, everyone stays quite silent. You know, you've seen when we've got a Skype call we're going to go to in a minute, but when the Glazers took over at Man United, there was protest. There was we then had sort of 07 to about 2010, not a murmur because we were winning the Premier League, we were winning Champions Leagues. Then when we saw City and that start to catch us up and we weren't spending as much money, Fergie was coming out with his no value in the market lines. The green and gold came out. Fergie leaves. We've spent hundreds of millions. It's gone away. Suddenly now this summer, because they've spent a lot of money, they're looking to come out again. And I think that's what happens when you're not happy with your ownership. There we go. Yeah. So we've got a Skype call here from Devon coming in all the way from the USA. We've got one more set of earphones if you guys, someone else wants to put them in so you can hear him.
I'll let you guys.
But Devon, you there, mate?
Talked enough.
Dev?
Can you hear me, bro?
Hello.
Hey, man, can you hear me?
Dev, how you doing, mate? You good?
Yeah, dude, life is good, man. What's going on with you?
Yeah, I'm very well. I can just about hear you. I think Javel's just trying to turn it up at my end.
Okay, yeah, I can hear myself, so. Everything good? I just realized it's been since July 14th.
No, I can't hear Devon at all.
Hello. Check 1 2 1 2.
Yeah, there we go. Got it. How are you, mate?
Oh man, it's good, Terry. I realized we haven't spoken since like the 14th of July. It's been a long time.
I know, nearly a month, my friend. How are you feeling? Listen, a few days. Arsenal kicking off the new campaign. You buzzing, mate?
Yeah, I'm absolutely excited. I kind of share DT's sentiment. Everything fresh. I like our signings. Obviously you wish we had more, but you're not going to fix everything in one window. I love Guendouzi. I think that kid's a player for the future. I really like signing Lichtsteiner. I'd love to see a Dembele move, but I don't want that to be a pacifier because of the Kroenke takeover. If it happens, it happens. I wish everything with Ramsey would get settled. Personally, my thoughts on him are known. I'd like for him to go. Like I said, I think we got a lot of our business done early, so it's kind of, everybody sitting back on the transfer days is hoping for something, but they have to look at the signings that we've already made. So I'm excited. I think this could be a very surprising season for Arsenal, and if nothing else, it's going to be interesting to see Emery's take on the team.
Absolutely. And I think you're right in what you say about the transfers being done early by Arsenal. I think that's, for me, Fergie used to do that brilliantly at Manchester United, and we've seen Arsenal struggle with that during the Wenger era where everything was left last minute. There was still a lot of panic around, and as you say, there hasn't been a marquee signing. But maybe that's just not needed this year by Arsenal. Maybe it's just about bringing in some experience, bringing in some winners.
Terry. I would disagree. I'd say our marquee signing might be Lucas Torreira. I thought he was great in the World Cup for Uruguay, and I thought he was great in Serie A for Sampdoria. I don't watch a ton of Italian football, but I did catch him a couple of times. And every time I saw him play, he's a pit bull in the midfield that we've lacked for years. A much more talented than Francis Coquelin style player, which we had to settle for Coquelin for that long run that we had a couple of years back. I love what Torreira could be for our midfield. I love Guendouzi. I think that kid is one for the future, but also, you know, possibly somebody that could feature in our first team in a pinch. I'm interested to see how Xhaka reacts, and I'm really excited to see an amped up and fully focused Mesut Ozil. I think Mesut Ozil is a 10 in our squad with no trips to, you know, Faroe Islands or Norway friendlies or, you know, stupid international games in the middle of September for you know, a tournament 2 years away. I think having Mesut Ozil focus at Arsenal and having Aubameyang and having Lacazette, you're going to see a different player, and that's my biggest excitement. And the fact that we got Bernd Leno for what looks like cheap. You know, I mean, if Kepa is going to go for 71 million pounds, and you know, it looks like, I think we got an absolute steal of a potential starting goalkeeper. So I'm excited. I'm 100% down for Arsenal.
I think what you've said is interesting about Lucas Torreira, especially because when I say marquee signing, I'm talking about that signing that makes your mouth water, that trends across the world. And I don't know if Lucas Torreira isn't that in terms of his name, but I think you're right. I watched him at the World Cup. I've read maybe 3 or 4 scouting reports on this young man, and he looks like, as you say, dynamite. And I think that's one thing you'd say about Arsenal in the last 5 or 6 years when it comes to central midfield. They've lacked the right type of bite. Granit Xhaka comes in and gets himself booked a little bit, but for me, he's not a sort of bulldog that's going to go in there and terrorise people, win a man, and you know, win a ball against a man and send somebody up in the air to sort of make his point. And I think that you've now got that with him, and hopefully he can then release some of the more, I mean, I'm not saying he's not talented on the ball, but you've got some very gifted football players in the central areas. If he can take up that mantle of being the aggressor, the enforcer, I think it will free up a lot more playing ability in other individuals, and as I say, give Arsenal that bite back so they're not so easily blown off the pitch.
I think definitely Ozil will have a bit more free time on the ball now. Obviously, in terms of kind of, you know, having Torreira, having, you know, Guendouzi, a lot of different players around him to, you know, actually spread the play, and then he can actually influence a lot more like he did previously in Real Madrid.
Yeah,
and then, you know, have a great impact on this Premier League season.
Absolutely.
Knock on Arsenal, you know, was so much flair and no balls, no steel in the center, and I think that we've completely changed that around. We don't have an Nzonzi, but we got a Guendouzi. We don't have a, you know, we don't have all these other names that we've been mentioned with, but we brought in a bulldog in Torreira, and I think it's going to make Xhaka a better player to not have to feel like he's always having to cover 2 positions. I think that the style that we've been running, that more of a 4-2-3-1 or whatever hybrid you want to run, as long as you've got Aubameyang and Lacazette on the same pitch with Ozil feeding balls through to them, you're dangerous.
Totally agree. And how do you think Arsenal are going to pan out and do this season?
I'm gonna reach a little high. I'm gonna say 3rd.
Yeah.
I still think it's City's league. I think it's City's league and Liverpool. Liverpool had one of the best windows. They still paid a lot for a goalkeeper, which I think is amazing to see as a former goalkeeper, to see keepers going for as much as they are. To get Alisson is great, because we know that Karius and Mignolet were not really going to win them any chance.
Oh, Skype's called up.
Is that gone?
Oh, no.
Back.
Hello?
I think we're here beginning.
Yeah, breaking.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, your signal was a bit. Yeah.
Okay, I think we pipped Spurs for 3rd, Arsenal 3rd, Spurs 4th, United 5th, and Chelsea 6th.
Mate, thank you very much for coming as always, Dev. Thanks, mate.
Have a great day.
Cheers.
Have a great day. Come on.
Yeah, it's interesting. Another sort of, a lot of, again, I think an Arsenal fan very enthused in what he's saying there.
Yeah.
Both yourselves here, do you not think there is the risk that Arsenal could be, as a fan base, kind of overhyping themselves?
So just real quick, I'm just reading, apparently Benzema to Chelsea. That's a rumoured.
Benzema to Chelsea.
He before he left said Zuma's going to Everton, and it's
so if Zuma's going to Everton, does that mean their deal for Yerry Mina has broken down? Or maybe they're buying both, because there were supposedly like delegates from Everton over there today trying to sign him and I can't remember the guy's name, and the midfielder. I think is it Gomez? Andre Gomez trying to sign both. Okay, there we go.
I mean, because apparently they said that they were like Real Madrid officials in London, and they were like, well, what the hell is happening? So apparently they're saying Benzema might.
Man United was keen before on getting Zuma.
Yeah, I heard
it was breaking news for for Zuma to go to Everton.
No, I mean, which is crazy. I mean, Chelsea should have. I mean, them selling Zuma is crazy. I mean, Zuma should.
Do you think they have abundance of talent in the centre back already?
I mean, David Luiz. I mean, David Luiz is trash. Azpilicueta is good. Christensen, he's good, but he's young. Rudiger is good, but I think Zuma. I think he's a really good defender, and he's a guy that either he could start or he should definitely be on the bench. But again, he's better than Cahill.
Because I think with Chelsea, they have to adapt now to a completely different system.
Yeah.
They're going back to 4 at the back.
I completely agree. Let's get we'll touch up. We're going to take a few more calls that Javon's going to put through to us. Then we're going to jump through some of the do a bit of a roundup of the rumours that are currently going around.
Yeah.
Let's put some calls through, please.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Who's this?
My name's Noah on Discord.
Oh, hello, mate. How are you?
I'm good. How about you?
Yeah, very well, thank you. What team do you support?
Well, I don't really support an English team, but if I had to pick, it would be Liverpool.
Okay. Good. And what's on your mind? What would you like to say?
Well, not really anything. Depends what you want to talk about. Do you want to talk about Arsenal or whatever?
But yeah, you're meant to sort of phone us, generally speaking, and tell us what's on your mind about the transfer window. That's the general consensus of it.
What do you think about Dembele? The rumors with Dembele going to Manchester United.
Dembele to Man United? Where'd that one come from? I've not heard that one.
I don't know. I've seen it from Football Daily a couple of days ago.
You mean Arsenal?
Yeah, he's rumoured to go to Arsenal today. I'm not sure about Man United. I mean, look, Dembele's a very talented young man, no doubt about it. I actually think he should stay at Barcelona if I was his agent.
Yeah, me too, to be honest, for your own development.
Yeah, I would be saying that. Well, it depends, because his agent might be after another payday, so his agent might be asking him to move on for that reason. But I would say stay at Barcelona and fight for your place. But if he does join Arsenal, if he does join Manchester United, if he does, whoever he joins, they're going to get a really talented individual, still raw, but with bags and bags of potential.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you very much.
I mean, to be honest with you,
I
don't feel like he's at the same level as maybe an Mbappe, but with a few, games of playing time, a few seasons in him, I think he can be really good.
Yeah, of course he can. I think you're absolutely right. I think he can definitely progress to that level. I don't think there are any youngsters out there at the same level as Mbappe. I think he's kind of out there on his own as a young individual. But yeah, as a general rule, I think that anyone who signs him is going to do very, very well to progress and move on from there. But listen, thank you very much for your call. We're going to jump on to some more on the phone lines. Thank you very much. Right. Cheers, mate.
Thank you.
See you later, mate.
Cool. Yeah, Javon's just going to send a few more calls through to us now via the standard phone line, if possible.
Hello.
Oh, hello.
Just a second. I'm going to mute YouTube. Yeah, tell me, mate.
Yeah, what's your name? Hello.
My name is Asher.
Cool. What's on your? Who do you support?
I support Arsenal.
And what do you want to say?
I want to talk about the transfers managed.
Yeah, go for it. Speak. Go on.
Do you want me to talk about you?
Yeah.
Talk away. We're waiting for you.
Oh, hello.
I've already said hello. What do you want to speak? What do you want to speak?
Speak, my child.
Tell us what's on your mind.
Calling from India.
Great. Tell us about these Arsenal transfers. Go for it.
Hello. My name is Asher. I'm calling from India.
Let's cut. Sorry, let's cut this guy off. Let's cut this guy off and let's get on the phone lines because I need him out my ears. I have no idea what that guy was talking about. Sorry, he said his name. Hello, welcome to FanPark Live. What's your name?
Hello.
Hello, who's this?
My name is Jay.
Hello, Jay. Who do you support, Jay?
Yeah, man. I was just, excited about the season, and I was watching them live, and you know what? I disagree with some of the things and agree with most of it.
What do you disagree with? I disagree with
the views on Arsenal.
And the reason why I disagree is clearly the team is not complete, and the manager is brand new. And I believe if they win if they get into the Champions League by winning the Europa League, I think that would be a good enough season for him to stay on and manage the team. I don't think they will be fourth. They might struggle because of their defense, and they probably will struggle defensively, definitely.
They're not coming
I
second,
think
man.
if they win the Europa League and do well in the other competitions and be more competitive against the top four, I think that'd be a great season for Arsenal.
One thing I've got to say to that is that we keep on forgetting, will Man City perform to the standard they did last season?
Most likely not. Most likely, I would say about 50% not. And I say why. Because Pep usually, in his career in Spain, you can see what he does. He pushes the players extremely hard all the way through. And this is their second season. This is the second season with Pep. So he's going to push the players to the limit. And for Barcelona, that worked perfectly because the league was so easy. But now in the Premier League, he's trying to push these players. Well, they have Champions League football, FA Cup. They got games in and out, which are very competitive. So the players, they might be tired out, and I think Man City will not do as well. But I think the other teams such as Liverpool, Chelsea, and the other teams around the league, the mid-table clubs are going to do much better because the big clubs are going to a very transitional era. Most of them are, except for Man City, except for Liverpool, maybe you can say, but the rest of them, you can see what's going on with Chelsea. You can see what's going on with Arsenal. You see what's going on with Tottenham. Everyone's having a little bit of a transition.
Wait, but mate, can I ask? So, are City going? Who's going to win the league?
Who's going to win the league? I will say right now, I will say Liverpool will win the league. I believe because I think City will try too much. I think they will go. They will try and win
City are winning the league, man. I don't know what this guy is saying.
It's going to be the downfall. I think Liverpool, they might be single-track mind. They might Klopp, if he really wanted to, he could say, you know what, we did all right last season in the Champions League. You know what, we don't really need to win the Champions League. We already got like loads of them. If we put our efforts into the Premier League and win this, because that's the most important thing to their fan base, I believe.
I honestly...
Not as a Liverpool fan, but most Liverpool fans will say, I'd rather win a Premier League because they haven't done that in donkeys.
Yeah, but
I think that would be amazing for them. But City is more about the Champions League.
I honestly think that with Liverpool, the problem about Liverpool is they have an amazing squad. We know that already. They have a great squad up front. You know, they have, they've added reinforcements to the midfield. You know, the defense is solid. They have supposedly a good keeper by reputation. But will Liverpool do well against the smaller teams? They always thought that's the key. That's always their problem.
I do agree with that. They don't do as well, the smaller teams. But I think the reason why they didn't do so well because they never had the strength in depth like other teams have, and now I think they have the strength in depth. And with Mo Salah's last season, I don't think he will do that great like this season. But at least now he has cover. He has cover in the bench. All the players got cover. They got loads of midfielders options. They got only I can say the weakness is Lovren, and maybe they should. I think they should have bought one centre back. If they bought one centre back, I think they would have been complete, and they would have been all right for the season. They would have probably be better positioned.
Fair enough. Thank you very much for your call. Some interesting points there. We haven't really touched on Liverpool very much yet. Great time to. Caller introduced them quite wonderfully, I think. And they've had an amazing transfer window. I don't think anyone...
No, they've had the best. They've won the transfer window.
Yeah. If there was a trophy to give out for it, they definitely have done some wonderful business. I think it's, for me... I'm glad that they're acting like a big club again. The one thing that's frustrated me is not Liverpool Football Club. It's not the transfers. I think the business has been wonderful. I sent out a few tweets about how they should have expectations to win trophies, and I saw a lot of Liverpool fans get angry that people were trying to, whether they were journalists, whether they were Liverpool people or rival fans, were trying to set them challenging of winning titles and challenging for leagues. There's this lot of, we're just happy with great football. So I purposefully did quite a number of videos talking about why they should be challenging. We had 2 Liverpool guys in. We had Drifty and Devo in the studio from the Football Banter Show. And they were of the same, generally speaking, of the same ilk. No, we should be challenging, especially now we spent money. I found it really, it's one of 2 things. It's either, for me, that they have fallen so far from grace that winning is literally not important for them anymore. Yeah. But I don't think it's that. I think what it really is that they know if they set expectations of we have to be within a point or 2 of winning the league and generally challenge, or we have to win a trophy, they don't want to have to put around the neck of the manager at the end of the season this potential for, say, I failed. Because they just
but you have to.
But I know you do. You do have to. And where do you sit with Liverpool? If with the players they've got now, the money they've spent and the style of football they have, if they're not picking up trophies with that this season, if they're not legitimately challenging for the Premier League, whereby with a game or 2 left they could win it, is it going to be, for you as individual football fans, is that going to be a failure of a season?
I think, honestly, since Klopp has been at Liverpool, he's implemented his style. He's implemented, the way he wants to play. He's bought the right players in the right areas. I think the most important signing for Liverpool, which they've done last year, in actual fact, was Keita in midfield. Yeah. Because they didn't have that dynamic guy who would, sit in midfield and stop and, act as a proper defensive midfielder. So I think Liverpool this year, if they don't win at least 1 trophy, I think it would be considered as a failure for Liverpool, in my opinion.
I mean, let's say, look, based on the transfers that they've made, like Alisson, Keita, Fabinho, and so forth, you can't go through a whole season and not finish with a trophy. Like, that has to be a failure. And I think Liverpool fans say, "Oh, we're only worried about good football." That's a loser's mentality. You're making your club have a loser's mentality. So they're not going to win the league. City have already won the league. That's already a fact. But I think FA Cup is there, the Carling Cup is there. I think that out of one of those 2, they have to win. I mean, I don't think they can win the Champions League, although I think they can go far.
I tell you what, last year, if it wasn't for Karius, maybe they would have. But they're
never going to beat Real. They're never going to beat Real.
Yeah, like experience.
The thing is, I'm a Man United fan, so everyone's, why are you talking about Liverpool? I mean, I'm not even hating on them. I'm just saying that for me, they just have to challenge. If they're not winning silverware and they're not challenging for the big titles with the squad they've got and the money they've spent, they can't call it a successful season. And I put City in that category. I put Man United in that category. We may not have spent big this year, but we have spent big in the last couple, and we've got players in our squad that are worth hundreds of millions of pounds. And you add up the valuation. Forget what clubs spend. The valuation of their squads. Mo Salah, if you sold him now, what would you get for him? 150 million. The point is, I don't judge him now as a 37 million pound player. I judge him as a 150 million pound player, and that's what he needs to deliver at. Spurs fans do it. They try and talk about Dele Alli being a 4 million pound man. He's not. He is worth what you would sell him for, not what you bought him for. Simple as that. We have Byron Ryan on the line, who's coming through now to talk a little bit about the German players coming into the EPL. Are you there, Ryan? Ryan. You there, mate?
Well, that was good.
Yep. I can see him. He's coming through on Skype, but I can't hear him.
I was watching you in the toilet.
Okay, cool. So we'll just jump back and we'll try and sort it out. We'll come back. We'll come back in a minute to Byron Ryan. We'll try and sort his audio out in a moment. Where do you sit with DT with Liverpool? What's on your mind with them?
On the toilet.
How do you think they're going to do?
Closest challengers to Man City, most probably, when you look at what they bought and what they've already got. But I don't think they're going to get over that hurdle because Man City are just too good.
Do you think that they should? Why do you think a lot of Liverpool fans are reluctant to set expectations of this side, though?
Because they win nothing.
Simple as that.
Simple as that. They haven't won a league in 30 years. When was the last? They've won. Last 11 years, they've won a League Cup. Yeah. So why should their expectations be any more than that?
I don't know. I think when you spend that much money, should your expectation not be higher?
No, because this is the thing: is because they've spent that amount of money, it doesn't give you a divine right to start winning trophies.
Yeah.
And the problem that Liverpool have had is that they have always spent a lot of money, more so now, but it's never got them what they wanted.
I get that, but shouldn't the expectations be to win them? Because they set the expectations of if we play great football, we're happy, and I think that's dangerous.
And also Champions League finalists as well. I mean, once you're Champions League finalists,
I think Bar Man City, they had a piss easy route to the Champions League final anyway. I think if they would have had Real Madrid's route, for example, they wouldn't have even got to the semi-finals. But what I say about Liverpool is that with their fans, and I know quite a few of their fans, and they've said to me that they're not getting their hopes up because everyone believes that Man City are so good, that Liverpool have got this team and got what they've got at possibly the worst time. If they had this squad, say when Leicester won the league, they would have pissed the league. Liverpool would have.
But that's an interesting concept because we listened to a Man United fan today. We listened to the doom and gloom that's surrounding them. And I asked a lot of Man United fans this last year, and a lot of them said they still would have been as angry. But if City hadn't have had the record-breaking season they had last year, and say they accumulated 15, and they accumulated 15 points less, and Man United only finished the season 4 points behind City, I don't think there'd be the pressure on but United's season was identical, same style of football, same problems, same everything. It's almost a case of that 19-point gap was huge because of how great City were. And that's the point you're making there with Liverpool. It's the same thing. It's like, well, because City is so good, they're not going to win it anyway, so there shouldn't be the expectations. But for me, it's like, well, then why are those same expectations placed upon Manchester United? Because Liverpool will say they're as big as us, though.
I mean,
are we saying Man United are bigger than Liverpool?
They're as big because of what they've won in the past. But in terms of the modern era, Liverpool are nowhere near Manchester United. And absolutely no chance. You know, and at the end of the day, when Fergie took over, Manchester United were nowhere near the size of Liverpool were. Manchester United had the same league titles as Arsenal, 10. So, you know, it's only in the modern era that Manchester United.
I think it was 8 Man United had then.
No, I think you had 10. We had 10
well,
as well.
We've got 20. What we've got 20 or 21 now? We've got 20. So he won 13. He won 13.
We've
so
got 13. So
actually,
this is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
This is what I'm trying to say is that over modern era, Manchester United are a different level to Manchester United, and because the majority have seen for 25, 30 years nearly Manchester United dominance and winning Premier League titles, Champions League.
So what I mean, I want to get this out in the air so it's right. So we're saying that United's expectations are only higher because we are a much bigger club than Liverpool.
Listen, don't try and put that in my mouth. I'm saying
no. Focusing.
In terms of a club as a whole, you are neck and neck. The 3 biggest clubs in England are Man United, Liverpool, Arsenal.
Yeah,
just as simple as that. And you only have to look at the trophies won by all of them. But in the modern era, Manchester United are a far bigger club.
But if Liverpool,
wait, hang on. Arsenal have never won the Champions League. So how can they be in that category?
You can't sit there and say because we ain't won the Champions League, we're not a big club.
I would say Arsenal.
Behave yourself, man.
Okay, win the Champions League. Win the Champions League.
Behave yourself, man. You had your club up for sale for £1.
Win the Champions League, then get in the conversation, man. Nah, you can't say that.
Absolutely no chance. Yes, you can say that. Yes, you can. You're absolutely.
You flopped in 2006, so that was your chance, man.
Nowhere near Arsenal in terms of size and in terms of trophies won. Absolutely no chance whatsoever. You play at Wembley in the Community Shield 5 minutes down the road, you can't even sell your fucking tickets, and you talk to me about big clubs. Behave, man. Chelsea will never be as big as Arsenal.
How can you be put top 3 and you've never won the biggest club trophy in the world?
When you have won more trophies than Arsenal, you can have a conversation with me.
So I'll make the point again. So
period. Trophies.
We're talking,
full stop.
I get that.
Chelsea have won 5 league titles.
Yeah.
5. We've won 13. You're not even near double figures yet. Behave, man.
Look, I totally understand this, and I think this is the kind of point I'm making. I would agree that Liverpool, Man United and Arsenal are the biggest 3 clubs in England in terms of everything they have done. Maybe not the best right now, but if Liverpool were in that top 3, most people would say Liverpool's squad is better than Manchester United's.
Yeah.
So their squad's better. They're one of the biggest clubs in the country. They've spent huge money, and they play better football than us. Why are their expectations of winning the titles lower than Man United's. That's all I'm asking. For me, all those things fit. They should be tarnished paint with the same brush that Man United are, that City are right now because of that Arsenal have been for many, many years. I don't understand why Liverpool get a free ride and their own fans enjoy that, because for me, you only get a free ride if you're a smaller club.
You have to go on recent history, United have been much more successful.
How recent is recent? Because the last 5 years we haven't.
No. I mean, but who has been more successful, as in trophy-wise? Liverpool. Okay, in the last 20 years, who's been more successful? So, in that sense, it's what have you done for me lately? More recently, United have had more trophies than Liverpool. Therefore, we expect United to be doing better, because more recently for us, United have performed and won more than Liverpool. If you take away that 2005 Champions League and that's FA Cup when they beat West Ham, what else have Liverpool won? So I think...
But still, they've got a great team, Liverpool, and they've spent loads of money. I think they're brilliant. So why shouldn't they have the expectation?
No, they still should, but United...
No one's answering the question.
Just not to be the producer off screen, but to be clear, that piece is for everybody, not just for detail.
This guy is a prima donna.
Can I just say something? The problem with Chelsea fans is that they seem to think that because they were founded in 2006, everyone else was founded then. No, a lot of us have history.
Win the Champions League, then you can be in the conversation. You flopped in 2006. So you're not in the conversation. Thank you.
But DT's having a bit of banter here. But at the same time, the point is with Chelsea, the expectation on you nearly every single year is to win the title.
Yeah.
And I know your recent history is a lot better than Liverpool's. There's no doubt about it. But you don't fit into that top club, one of the big history-wise in the country. Like you know who the top three are. The point is, why have you got massive expectations? Why are there Arsenal fans out there that want to be challenging inside 2 years? Why is that? But Liverpool fans want to hide behind this. We're a little club.
I honestly think it's because Liverpool's just got used to the fact now that they can start challenging. They weren't challenging for a few years back. So why I think the fans are now kind of maybe getting used to it now is because they have a great squad. They have a great manager. He's completely implemented a great system across the whole of Liverpool. And brought in great players. Now the fans should start rallying. Let's start winning titles. Let's start doing this.
No, I think because they have not really been used to. Okay, we're challenging. Exactly. That's what Although they should have won the title. When is it 2015? When they're 5 points ahead with Chelsea. But apart from that, they've not gotten used to really winning titles. So once you've not gotten used to winning titles, then therefore.
Can I just answer a very important thing, because there's a lot of questions online which I'm looking. And a lot of people want to know what flavour pizza this is.
Go on.
Just let them know it's pepperoni. All right.
That's like the standardised. That's the
pepperoni.
You got to do that.
And I have noticed that my agent's running there with loads of boxes of stuff, and
there's loads of food in there.
Really
Where is it?
To get back up. And here we go.
Get it in here.
Get in here. What we got here?
Wow.
Look, see, perks of the job. Look at this. What we got in this one?
With barbecue, that's going to be.
Oh, they're wedges. You can have the wedges. They're like the Chelsea of football. They're like what let you down. You get that surprise, and then you're like, oh look, we got more
coming in. We got more. Why are we taking a little break?
We got garlic bread.
Garlic bread.
Oh my god! Wow,
this is
hold on, don't go yet, man. We've got to do the unveiling. This is like an unboxing. Give us one of them.
I know what it is. It says it on the box.
What? Oh, wedges. More
potato wedges.
Don't look at the side of the box.
Oh, this is my favourite.
What is it?
This is my favourite.
What is it?
No, better that chicken strips.
Oh, give me chicken strips. Get the chicken strips over here.
And then what we got here?
Wedges.
Okay, I'm over garlic bread.
Yeah, wedges are here. Look, there you go. Chelsea. It's even in a blue box. Keep your wedges.
You can have the blue garlic bread as well.
There you go. There you go. I've got the red box. Chelsea's got the blue box.
Someone just said on my timeline here, hack. They said they've never seen Have Hope before. And they've just seen him grab the box, and they were like, "How can a blind man do that?"
I tell you, we're having more.
Guys, behave.
I see someone comparing him to Sneakbo earlier. Show me the way, Sneakbo. Show me the way.
Behave, guys, behave.
We're going to action here.
Chicken, is that here?
Yeah, chicken's over here.
Oh, this is alright. You don't get this on transfer deadline day on Sky Sports.
No, you don't.
Or you get a Jim White with his
tie. So we've got a few done deals and things here and expected deals. So Chelsea are expected to sell and loan up to 15 players by the end of August.
Okay.
That's a lot. That's obviously how you guys raise a lot of your money. Arsenal goalkeeper David Ospina has agreed personal terms with Besiktas.
Yeah.
What else we got on here? Done deal. Atletico Madrid have signed Nicola. No, what's his name? Kanalic from AC Milan. Kalinic, that's it, yeah, from AC Milan. Kanalic, maybe he can. Is he the guy that was sent home by Croatia? Yeah, that guy. And then Andre Gomez is now having a medical at Everton.
Okay.
Wow.
So,
Everton, man, not bad.
Barcelona.
Kotzuma,
Everton, do you know Everton has signed some decent players this summer?
What about Mina?
We've got Bayern Ryan. Is his sound working now?
Oh.
Let's see if it's working before we go to Bayern Ryan, because otherwise... It's very faint. Can you turn it up, Javon?
I don't know, we have more action here than Tottenham.
I can't hear him. No. So
is everyone in agreement that City are going to win the league?
Yes, Man City are going to win the league, no doubt.
Yeah.
It won't be such a points gap.
No, and I think that I don't even know if that will be caught up by other teams. I think that will be them not accumulating. So if you think about the early part of last season, they got like the 98th minute winner against Bournemouth. They did it against Huddersfield. I can put the top of my head about Southampton. I think there was about 9 to 10 points they gained. Where you think, Jesus, there was 2 or 3 minutes over the added time. And look, my club's done that in the past. You know, Arsenal in their invincible season get, penalties in the last minutes that they didn't maybe deserve to draw games. All teams that win titles get those moments that go their way. I think that naturally will reduce the points gap anyway this year. But I still think that they're too strong. I really do think they're too strong to catch.
I think Mahrez is a just an average addition to Man City. Or do you think he's going to be
useful? Because I think Mahrez is that he gives City something different, and especially on the counter attack.
Yeah.
When they're breaking, I just think that his intelligence and how he comes in on the left. I just think because again, I thought he actually did all right in the Community Shield. Like people say, oh no, like this guy's going to be a flop. It's like guys, this is his first game in a new system, new team. I could see how he can actually contribute to City, and I think especially in the Champions League, where like you know what, Silva's not working. Bernardo Silva's not working. Things not. Let me just come in and have a guy bring in something. Maybe take a shot from 30 yards out. And Mahrez is the kind of guy who can get a goal out of nothing. And sometimes you just need someone completely different from what you guys already have. So I think it's a useful signing.
Yeah, I think he's a very good player. I think he'll do fine. Comment here says Godin, Boateng, Mina, Toby, and William said no to United.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, no, that's not actually true. I mean, Godin, there is absolutely no evidence that Man United actually went in for him in any way, shape or form. Toby Alderweireld agreed personal terms, but Spurs didn't agree the fee, so you're wrong there. Man United didn't bid for Willian, so how can he ever say no? Mina, for me, if Everton got this close to signing him, I doubt he said no to Man United. Like, I'm sorry, if we're going to be real, we can banter all we want, but let's talk facts and sensible opinion as opposed to...
Courtois quick, he's already taken a picture by the...
Did you see Courtois' post on Facebook? It's a very sentimental, lovely post, but he was getting so much abuse.
Yeah, he pulled it down.
But this is what's wrong with modern day football fans for me. Like, literally, he was a hero 2 months ago, and the abuse Chelsea fans were giving him was like, did you see what was being written? It was disgusting. What was being written about him.
No, but look, I mean, okay, so do you support or against his tactics in forcing a move? Because I get it, but it was classless. But I get it.
Yeah, but the problem I have is the reason I'm no longer against it or for it is because I'll give you a great example. Raheem Sterling gets booed a lot and attacked a lot by Liverpool fans because of what he did, right? That was actually the stemming of the abuse and media abuse that Sterling gets, how he left Liverpool.
Yeah.
How is that any different to what Virgil van Dijk did to join them? They cheered when he signed. Football fans are the problem here, not the players. We are fickle creatures. We are fickle creatures. And the way we treat a player that leaves us in an unsavoury way, we cheer if another man does it.
No, because he did the same thing with Atletico Madrid to Chelsea. He did the same thing. So it's like,
why are people surprised?
You know?
No, I think it was Bilbao when he joined Chelsea originally. We listened to it today. The point is, like Rojo did it to join Manchester United as an example, as a recent example at our club. Forced his way through. So someone forces their way out of our club. I'm now at a point where I'm not going to call him a snake. Like we are happy to gain a player that way, but we're not happy to lose one that way. For me, shut your mouth, wipe your mouth, and move on. Stop being a baby.
Yeah.
You ain't got to abuse them, man.
I'm saying that Alexis is still a prick.
Yeah, to you.
Yeah,
I mean, no, but it's still class. Basically, if someone sees him on the street and say, "Look, man, you're a prick," he can't say anything back because at the end of the day, there is a there's a more classy way to go about it.
But
I.e.,
we know people don't do that. We know people don't do that. We've seen fans, we've seen fans do fan cams and absolutely case into people, meet them for real and shake their hand. Like, they really, like, for me, I'm not saying this, I'm not even saying abuse them, you shouldn't do it, but people do a lot of chatting, they do a lot of stuff on the keyboards. It's like a lot of the Man United fans hate Jose. I guarantee you they come face to face with him. They'd be like, "Oh, hello, sir," shake his hand, and they coil away from it. I know they would. That's why.
I'll give you a great example for this. Following Real Madrid as well. When Ronaldo left Real Madrid to go to Juventus, everybody was doing video montages of great things he's done for Real Madrid because he did amazing things for Real Madrid. You know what I mean? So I think it depends on the club how they handle it as well, the transfer and what happens, after that. But using that as an example, I think with Courtois going to Real Madrid now, let's see how Chelsea handle it with Kepa and so forth, and maybe future additions as well.
I mean, but at the end of the day, look, Chelsea are losing, in my opinion, a top 3, top 4 keeper. That's a fact.
Top 2.
Top 2?
Yeah, I would say he's second best keeper in the world after De Gea.
Yeah, but you finished 5th last year.
Wait, Neuer is the best keeper in the world.
No, I would say no. De Gea is the best keeper in the world.
No, Neuer is the best keeper in the world. Come on, like if everyone is, he's just been injured. If everyone is fit, and De Gea had a world class howler at the World Cup, which is like Neuer when fit.
Neuer did as well.
I mean, you can't really call it a howler.
Let's just end this debate. Petr Cech's better than all of them. So there we go.
No.
There we go.
Yeah.
Job done.
Yeah, do you know, those kind of debates, I actually get sort of, because maybe the World Cup just killed me in terms of the Ronaldo-Messi debate every day. It was like, I'm just sick and tired of it because they're both great.
And they both flopped at the World Cup. So
who?
They both flopped at the World Cup, Cristiano and Messi. So
Ronaldo never flopped at the World Cup. Ronaldo was sick. It was Messi that was flopped at the World Cup.
I think Ronaldo had to be, he was the only player in that team who could actually do it.
And then you talk about, and then I know that everyone was making comparisons saying, look who Messi's got to play around him and stuff like that. So have you seen some of the players he's got around him? You're talking winners, Champions League winners, and
yeah, I agree with all of it. And the thing is, the debate thing. What I've sort of come to a realization with last year, it's not about who's better because nobody talks about who's better. We talk about what we prefer to watch and who we prefer. So for me, it's why I rate Harry Kane as the best number 9 striker in the world.
Whoa, in the world.
Number 9 striker in the world, yes, because I love the way he plays, I love the way he does things, right down to I love the way he looks when he shoots. But aesthetically, I look at him and I think he looks great. Not when he talks, but when he thinks
Hazard's better.
Yeah,
no, number 9.
No, but so this is
like he's not better than Aguero, Suarez.
But this is the point. I prefer him. Okay. It's not about. This is what I've realised. It's
so
not
your
about
preference.
Yeah, like Ronaldo and Messi. I think they're both amazing, the best 2 players of all time. Yeah. But I prefer the way Ronaldo plays. I love his directness. I actually love his arrogance on a football pitch. I just love it. So for me, I'm going to prefer him. I'm not even going to debate it because it's like, if I prefer to wear skinny jeans to baggy jeans, I don't care what you prefer. It's what I like wearing. It's the same thing. Sorry?
Boot cuts.
No, boot cut was done like 1999. I wear skinny jeans only. That's it. That's all I wear.
The only problem with skinny jeans,
what?
Can't kick people in the face.
Can you not?
No, you can't get your leg up. It's too tight.
I don't really do a lot of kicking people in the faces, other than in the ring. That's the only time I do it. But
best thing about boot cuts.
I'm going to ask you actually. I know we are doing deadline day, but I thought I'd ask you while you're in it, DT. Who's going to win between Logan Paul and your mate JJ?
Oh, KSI all day long.
Do you think you'll do him?
Yeah, man. JJ's going to do him all day. I've got no doubts about that whatsoever. I told everyone that he was going to beat. What's his name as well? Joe Weller. And everyone was like, no, you ain't going to beat him. I said, listen, watch. And then watched how he trained and everything. And he smashed Joe Weller up. I think it'll be a harder fight.
Yeah, no, I think it will be a harder fight just because of the...
But I think JJ's going to smash him. I actually think Deji's going to lose.
It's his brother, right?
Yeah.
I
think Deji's going to lose against Jake.
I'm actually looking forward to it. Like the last one I watched, and I was quite impressed actually.
The thing is that the Deji fight, I think that's going to be windmills. Where they're going to go in there just like this.
Yeah, true, yeah.
Pure windmills going in and just like, but the KSI and Logan fight, listen, KSI's trained hard. He's trained hard before the other fight. He's trained really hard for this fight.
Well, he was saying that he wants to go pro. He's thinking about becoming a pro. I mean, that's not crazy.
Do you know what?
But that's hard.
I wouldn't put it past him because anything he's set his mind to, he's gone out there and achieved. Over 18 million subscribers on YouTube. He's gone out there and achieved everything he set himself out to do.
When you say that, I laugh because I was buzzing this morning when I woke up and I'd gone past 68,000. I was like, woo! And you think 80 million, you just think it's a mad thing. Do you know what? It's one of those things, like when I look at this sort of stuff, and obviously we all do our own stuff on YouTube and social media, and it's like there are levels, and it's like, for me, like 68,000, like I never thought I'd get that much. Man's on 18 million. It just goes to show, like,
it's mad because the event itself is pay-per-view. And it's going to be like the biggest, like, non-proper boxing event.
White collar boxing.
Yeah, white collar boxing. Like this, Eddie Hearn must be sitting there watching it and thinking, "Wow."
How much money can I...
Do you know? Do you know what's interesting with boxing though? Because boxing is very clever. So if you look at, for me now, the biggest media outlets for boxing are all YouTube based. You've obviously got the IFL as an example, you've got the American companies. And what Eddie Hearn's been very clever at doing, and all the other promoters, is they give those guys like backstage access to everything.
IFL's the main one.
Yeah, IFL's the main one with Coogan, and he's class. And I love listening to him, and I watch all these stuff. And again, it's social media based, and I think football, the big football media outlets, they're trying to now, you know, they're all trying to do their own little thing now by trying to use FanCam, but it isn't as good. They should just let us go backstage and interview players.
Do you know that Coogan is one of the first ones on Arsenal Fan TV from the very beginning? He was the one to come up with the idea with Robbie.
Really?
Yeah, but then Coogan had Eiffel and was so busy with that, said to Robbie, "You go off on your own and do Arsenal Fan TV. I'll concentrate on that." The rest is history.
There we go.
Yeah, one of the first ever.
He's a gooner, isn't he, Coogan?
Yeah, he's a nice guy. He's a really nice guy. So
we are going for our third attempt at getting Bayern Ryan on the air.
Oh, has Ross sorted it out now, is it?
And if this works, then when we come back, we've got a little surprise for you all in the studio as well.
We got David Ospina in here. We have. Where is he? Come here. No. We got to get you on camera. We got to prove
Ross,
it. Come here. Listen, we got David Ospina in the studio. Come here, David. Listen, look at this guy. Look at this, David. This
is the guy that makes it all happen.
Yeah. The head honcho, man. Head honcho.
I've been told by the other head honcho that you need to lean forward because no one can hear what you're saying.
Oh, really? That's all right then. That make a change.
All right, guys, keep doing a good job. Enjoying the pizza.
Cool. Yeah.
Bayern Ryan, can you hear us? Can you hear me?
No.
That's a bend on his
beak. We're going to have to lock this one off. It worked every time during the World Cup. We've come back live and it ain't happening.
He's talking.
There we go. All right. Sorry, mate, it's not happening. Sorry, brother. I apologise. How do you say goodbye in American? Is there a way? It's just goodbye, isn't it? Just goodbye.
Adio.
Adio. Yeah.
Someone's asked in the comment section if you're going to be playing the piano.
Well, like Ray Charles.
Yeah. So, look, man, guys, man, listen. Be respectful with your comments, man. Be respectful. I mean, guys, take liberties.
I need to ask you this: what is it about? Why is the sunglasses your thing? What is it? We've got, like, obviously the Fresh Ego kid here. You got the sunglasses. What's that all about?
No, basically, like, when I started it, because, like, I didn't want to basically be recognized on the streets or have any kind of fame. So literally, because I began doing, like, film reviews, like, over 10 years ago.
Sorry. What? So you think your sunglasses change your look? Like, you know Clark Kent wears sunglasses and he looks the same without them on? You know you look the same without sunglasses, bruv.
No, but okay, at least this prevents it, at least. So obviously I still get recognized, but this prevents it.
It's a disguise.
No, it's a disguise, yes.
Oh my days.
In a minute, you're going to see Mission Impossible when he pulls the face off. You're actually going to put it
I've seen it all now.
He's actually Dave from Essex.
So Robbie puts a pair of glasses on and nobody knows it's him.
Yeah.
That's it.
Oh, little pink hat. Just bowls around London.
That's it. There we go. Nobody recognises him ever again. Oh my God, I've heard it all.
We've got a little studio swap coming up, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to have a few more guests going to join us in the studio right now. David, thank you very much for coming on as always. Have hope.
Pleasure.
Cheers. You can take your glasses. Don't take your glasses off now. They want to see who you are. Your identity will be out there amongst the world to see. If anyone knows what his real name is out there, please put it up on the screen. Don't. No one knows who you are. You got glasses on.
Hey, look, he's in that much of a disguise.
All right,
he's taking the wedges.
Cool, guys.
See, his disguise is that good. He's even run off with the wedges.
Now time for a very professional change.
Yeah, very professional change.
Real slick.
I'll fly over to this chair.
There we go. But
and then that
listen, you can make sure you guys give us a call on 0203 606. 0315. We want to hear from you. You're going to enjoy. You're going to enjoy our next guests that are going to be in the studio. Actually, you're going to enjoy them. You're going to love them. We actually have the first super agent in history coming on the show. The greatest agent in the history of this country, and for me, the biggest, the most influential football YouTuber in the world is also coming on. I wonder if you can guess who that is. The big man is going to be sitting himself down now. Yeah. What's happening, mate?
I saw someone that looked like Dave outside, but I wasn't sure because he was wearing sunglasses.
Don Robbie.
There we go, gentlemen.
You've got to refer to him as Don Robbie.
Don Robbie. Don Robbie is in the house. The cameras will pan back across in a moment. Everyone's going to know it is. Someone said, I see Robbie's arm, so I know it was him. Someone just said they saw the arm there.
So big. So strong.
Don't start, yeah.
Private joke.
Oh.
Care to share?
No.
That sounds like fun in Russia or wherever it was. Or in the Middle East. Robbie, how you doing, mate?
I'm good, mate.
You good. John, yourself?
Well, I'm in between two great big hunks. I'm going to have to think about wearing my underpants outside my trousers. At the moment.
Interesting transfer window it's been, would you say? With the World Cup, with it finishing early.
Yeah, it's. I was interviewing John last night, and John was talking about how, with the UK, like almost like we jumped the gun by ending the transfer window early. Because what everybody else's transfer window finishes at the end of August, and ours finishes today, which I agree with, because we don't want to be going to the new season, with these transfers going on. We hate it, innit, when the season starts and players are getting picked off. But everybody needs to do it together. But John, you were saying that's going to happen anyway.
Yeah, Robbie's right. We jumped the gun. We thought, essentially, the windows were brought in and they were supposed to finish before the season started. That changed with early World Cups, late World Cups, European Championships, whatever, and it sort of became osmosed, a bit of a mess. So we decided that we, being the English football folk, decided we would take that opportunity to change it all, without really thinking it through too well, because we sort of tested the water with both feet, and we've sort of drowned a little bit today, because what's happened now, of course, I mean, look at prime example. Let's spool back 72 hours. So Minariola is in Spain. At least I presume that's where he is, because I phoned him the other day and his phone rang Spanish. So he's either on holiday or he's doing some business down there, and one would assume Barcelona will be on his route map. So he's over there. Let's assume for a moment that he was trying to get Pogba into Barcelona.
Yep.
And they're interested. They've got till the end of August to do that deal.
Yeah.
Manchester United's got to sit there and think, supposing he's going, do we go and buy somebody? Do we go and loan somebody? But, that's a big cog out of your machinery, isn't it? It's a big... It's not like you've just lost your reserve left back.
Yeah.
Potentially, you've lost one of your... I mean, forget his form, non-form, whatever. He played well in the World Cup, He's a big man in your team. So now, they're still thinking that. They don't know whether he's going to stay or go, unless there's been private conversations. But that's the sort of issue that this has thrown up. We can sell, or we can be raided, but we can't buy.
Yeah, that's what was strange from my point of view. I get why you would do it. I think especially for some of the smaller clubs, they like to start their season and they like to know who they've got. But that it's still not actually addressed that. All it really means is you can still lose people, but you've got no ability to bring, because we've jumped the gun.
We jumped before, and the Italians and the Spanish and the Germans were all sitting there going, okay, then we won't close our window then. Because that strengthens our position.
Absolutely. On the big thing, a lot of Man United fans commenting here talking about what Mino Raiola's doing. From what you know, is Pogba trying to force a move away from Manchester United, or is this more just the agent seeing what's available, trying to get either get him a new deal at Old Trafford, or just trying to sort of make himself a bit of money? Is what many people think.
Look, it's obviously people are going to focus on the money issue because they do, but in reality, he's doing his job. I mean, if you're a football player and you play for Arsenal and you're doing okay, but maybe you're not the best happy, whatever. Maybe you don't like London as much as you could. Maybe the fans are on your back. You're going to say to me, your agent, just see who's out there, will you? Just let's have a look at options. I've only got 10 years of my life here, or 12 years, whatever's left of my career. I've got the next 3 years are important to me. find out what's out there. So he's only doing his job. That's all he's doing, really.
I don't disagree, and I think as well. I think he's on about £185,000 a week, Pogba. You've seen Alexis Sanchez come in on £350,000 a week. I think this is a bit of a ploy of, we've had a good World Cup, the start of the season strong, let's just flirt a little bit with Barcelona. No different to what Sergio Ramos did with Manchester United a couple of years ago. Let's flirt of a big money move away, and then we know our club's going to want to keep us and offer us a new deal. I think that's a fairly common tactic that we see quite regularly, right?
It's a card in the pack you can play. But I just think you've got to look at it in the round and not look at it purely... Yes, it's financial, but it's other things. It's lifestyle. It's football. I mean, football plays a big part in this too. And he's not. It hasn't happened for him in Manchester. Having said all that, if he stays, he may have a great season. But if he doesn't, Mino would have done the right thing to have looked now.
You don't like Mourinho. The two of them don't seem to get on.
Doesn't help either.
Yeah, they don't seem to get on. Yeah, he doesn't seem to get on with anybody right now, anyway.
Jose's thing is, do you know? I feel a bit like. It was weird. This summer's been so strange from a Man United point of view, because Jose it's like you watch the internal stuff Man United put out, or if you watch the entire press conference, you see the moody bits, and then you'll see him laughing and joking in the same era. If you just watch what the media's put out, for me it really has been kind of funneled down.
Yeah, but hold on, forget the media part for a minute. He don't get on with Pogba. You can see it. He doesn't get on with Martial. He doesn't get on with Pogba. He doesn't get on with Luke Shaw. He calls these guys out publicly, so...
Well, Luke Shaw's
come out... You can't really just say media, because he does it publicly.
Yeah, but Luke Shaw came out and dispelled that and did an interview talking about how grateful he is about how Jose Mourinho has handled and dealt with him. I agree with the Martial thing.
Calling him fat in public.
He didn't call him fat.
What do you call him then?
He didn't even refer to his fitness generally. He said he got to work harder. But then Jose's not the only manager that's done that. Hodgson did it. Pochettino did it.
No, but he calls out. He does that a lot, doesn't he? He calls people out.
But he's done it his whole career. If you go back and look at Jose Mourinho from day one, there's early stuff at Chelsea with Joe Cole. He's done it his whole career. Yeah, but it's only. But my point is, Jose's not acting any different now to what he's done in the last 10, 15 years.
Not everybody likes it. That's what I'm saying. There's some players that they thrive on it, and that can help them to be better. There's other players, obviously like Pogba, who don't like it. He's like, thinking, what are you talking to? Yeah?
Well, again, but
you've got to handle different players differently.
I get what you're saying, Robbie, but this is the point that comes down to...
Pogba's like DT.
Yeah, I understand your point. No, but I understand your point, but you also need to look at interviews from both sides, because if you listen to what the French media said, Pogba did have an issue with Jose Mourinho after some of the public arguments they had, but it was Didier Deschamps that turned around and said, listen to your manager, listen to what Jose's saying, he's doing the right thing for you. And that's what saved the relationship, because sometimes it's an outsider saying, okay, you don't like what Jose's done, but I think Jose's right in what he's doing. My point isn't you can say what Jose's doing wrong, someone can dislike it. My point is the way Man United have been reported on this summer has been very imbalanced. Very, very imbalanced in terms of the way things...
People are making it up.
No, not making it up. It's imbalanced. So I'm not saying that your opinion's wrong. I know he's outed people publicly. I know some of the players don't like him. But equally, there's been as many players coming out saying how supportive he was during the World Cup, how fun he is to be around. The video that Demi Mitchell, one of the academy players, put out of his initiation song. And this young lad could really sing as well for a football player. The United team were in great spirits. Jose's in the background bobbing his head and tapping his feet and filming his young player and cheering along with a throwing him in the air. My point is that it's not been reported on balance, and that's all I care about when it comes to these reports, is that it's balanced. It's like everything's doom and gloom, but anything positive has been left out, and that's where I have a frustration. I think as fan media, that's what we should do.
John, as a agent, would you get players come to you and say that, I don't like this manager, I don't like he treats me, I don't get me out?
Yeah,
because I just get the feeling that that's going on here.
But what you're both saying is that there is a media agenda here. There always is a media agenda. I'm not saying it's negative. The media has been great for our game of football. It's made our game of football what it is, or helped make it what it is. But, for Jose Mourinho, read Theresa May, there's an agenda now that she's not going to forget whether she's right, wrong, left, right, whatever it is, screwing up Brexit, not screwing up Brexit. There's an agenda now that she's probably not the right person to run the country.
Yeah.
So whatever happens now, unless she comes up with a magnificent Brexit plan, or makes everyone laugh a lot, or helped us win the World Cup, or whatever it is, that's
it's tarnished.
And
yeah,
he's got that tarnished image now. It happened in Madrid. It sort of irked its way through. He hasn't played the right cards with the media or with people generally. He just looks that aggravacious, complaining self. Where he's actually very self-deprecating, and he's actually good fun. But he doesn't play that card anymore.
He doesn't in public, and I think that's sometimes my issue is that having known some of these individuals, and you see them from outside of the media spotlight, you're like, I know what that individual's like, and they're like Ashley Cole always had a bad image of being arrogant as word, and I was very fortunate to meet him a few times at sort of events, and I was surprised how charming and lovely he was, because the media always told me that he was this selfish, arrogant, nasty, cheating. But obviously, but you're an Arsenal fan, but that's your viewpoint. But again, it's
that's it. Ashley Cole, don't talk to me about it.
And I know what he. But the point is, he did that thing wrong. But that's and you see the same thing happen with Raheem Sterling.
Done that thing wrong. He stitched us right up.
Yeah, he did.
He could do one. As
He
far as I'm
did.
concerned.
He did.
I
But
don't wanna even
that was down
repeat
to
what I
Wenger's
think
poor
he is.
management. Do you know what I mean? That
Am
was
I
the start
right-
of it.
You know, we're talking about the transfer window. Am I right in believing that even though our window shuts at 5, we can still take players on loan?
Yes.
Is that
Yeah,
right?
there will be a loan window though.
So we can still get Dembele.
That's what. We had a conversation yesterday.
No,
he's still playing, isn't he, Ashley? You come back, cheer you up.
Who's Dembele's agent? Do you know?
I'll have to dig into my memory bank.
Go on your phone book.
Yeah,
Give him a ring.
my phone is inside, so I could pop in and have a quick pee.
Have a
Or is
quick,
that a bit too much
have a
information?
quick
And have a
message
quick
for
flip
him.
through and have a quick yes. I could.
Send him a little message.
Yeah,
Say
we'd
DT
do
said
that.
you've got to come over to Arsenal. It's got to be done. Come on loan. Robbie will look after you. Robbie will put you up in his house.
Why didn't we go for Leon Bailey? That's
Who
what I
knows?
don't understand. Cause
But no one's gone for him.
No
one's gone for him. Yes, that is a bit strange, but why not go for him then?
Do you know what? I think you get those players sometimes, don't you? So Leon Bailey, everyone's okay. I'll look at that stat in a second. I think Leon Bailey could be one of them. You had it with. You remember William Carvalho, who's still at Sporting Lisbon. Like 4 or 5 years ago, he was hot property, but still no one's come in for him. And as an agent, has he moved now?
Yeah, he's moved now. I can't remember
because he was a free agent.
But he's gone. Yeah, but a lot of players left Sporting, didn't they? This year for these reasons.
Can I just actually change the subject slightly?
Yeah, of course.
Because we've spent a lot of time, and I've been around the media a lot today, talking about Arsenal, Tottenham, Chelsea, Man United, Man City. Can we just focus a little bit on some of the other clubs? I mean, West Ham spent nearly £100 million. Yeah. Everton today are buying 3 players, and they've already bought 2. You know, that's 5, 6 reasonable good players. I mean, Bernard's there now. I mean, it's looking. That's an interesting situation. Tottenham have got. That's. Well, we're talking small clubs, aren't we? So you know.
Bomb dropped.
I mean, sort of, you know, he spent 900 million on a stadium. So he's actually just held that line. If it doesn't work for him this year, that's quite a big gamble now. So there's lots of little stories around Leicester City. Leicester City building a whole new complex where they are spending 200 odd million. If they keep hold of Maguire, that's a result for them.
Of course it is.
Do you know what? There's a question I want to ask you, John. Actually, is because I know that you've been in contact before with Usmanov, for example, and you spoke to him, the Andre Arshavin deal that you dealt with when he come to Arsenal. Do you think that he's going to now go into another Premier League club? Most notably Everton.
Okay, I would caveat my words carefully here. I believe he has some involvement. I don't know what that involvement is. He may just be friendly with them all, with Everton. I think he's in that orbit somewhere.
Yeah.
Now, whether he's active, whether he's spiritually supportive, whether he buys them all hamburgers on Sundays, I just think there's a swimming involvement. But his heart was in Arsenal, so he's going to feel a little bit injured. I mean, he made £1 billion offer.
Do you think he just
from
gave up
from his own personal wealth? He's made £1 billion offer, and it got rejected, and it got rejected publicly and with two fingers up in the air.
Yeah.
So I think he got hacked off for sure, and he might be an injured warrior. I think he's too big a person to do that personally because he operates.
Because I know a lot of the scaremongering amongst Arsenal fans. What I've heard the last few days is their biggest worry now is for Usmanov to go and take over an Everton, for example.
Well, I mean, let's look at that for a second. Everton have now got to move. It's going to cost them, and I know this because I'm quite close to them. It's going to cost them circa £500 million. So they're going to be in the Tottenham type of financial padlock for a wee while, which is why I like Bill and I like the people at Everton very much. and I'm pleased that they've done their business, and I hope that they do well, because this may be the last spend they're going to do for a while. But yes, you're absolutely right. He could turn up anywhere, and I think Everton is a logical place because he's friendly with Farhad and Bashiri.
Do you look on it, John, right, and say to yourself, you mentioned West Ham there. So West Ham, like you said, nearly £100 million. Now, West Ham have brought in a new manager, and they backed that manager. And I look at Arsenal. It's been a good window in that, I've been pleased that we've done our business early. I've been pleased that the players we've bought are for the positions that we needed. So they're not the most glamorous of signings, but we needed unglamorous signings anyway. But do you think, though, for a new manager that's come in, that we, at Arsenal, the hierarchy at Arsenal, have properly backed him? When you look at a club like West Ham, they are not as big as Arsenal, and a new manager in Pellegrini that's been backed with, £100 million worth of investment on players.
We discussed this briefly last night when we were together, and there's actually no real argument from a fan's point of view. Let me wear my fan's hat. Yeah, why didn't they spend the money? I agree. He can afford it. Chucking a couple of £100 million is not going to break the Kroenke family. I mean, his wife is the Bulbart family. They've got more money than Jesus. So I think that is a definite full stop end of that sentence. The other part of that is we've got a new manager. Potentially we've got a chief executive leaving. We might have, and we talked about this last night, we might have the owner's son coming into a pivotal management role, guiding the club forward. Here's a bit of money, go tidy it up. Let's get some players out, let's get a few in, let's see how the management fits, let's see how it all works, and then we'll review it in 6 months' time.
Is that aiming to win the league, though?
No, well, it's going back to the old George Graham way of doing things, where you don't have to buy the big stars. And we've just talked about Pogba. That hasn't worked. So sometimes,
I agree.
Sometimes that works.
I think with Arsenal, when I've looked at it, and I've said this a few times sort of online, I kind of feel as well, like, I think a lot of the problems, and I don't mean it disrespectfully, I think some of the players you've got are really good, but I think under Wenger, I think the whole thing was falling apart. And I think it's also right to give individuals, Granit Xhaka is a perfect example. We spoke about Iwobi earlier. Give them time under this new manager rather than just overhauling straight away and bringing in too many and getting rid of too many. I think you brought in some really good players. I think there's Torreira is a great young signing that you brought in.
But I think the best signing, in my opinion.
I think it's phenomenal
of this window.
It is, and he's a great player, and it's
the price
cheap.
They got it.
It's cheap for how good I think that young man is and is going to be. But I think it's also right to give. If the new manager comes in and he wouldn't use these exact words, but you're all going to get an opportunity under me. There's almost instant buying. When I've seen a lot of new managers come into other big clubs, and I think United are a great parallel because Fergie was there so long. There was always big ins and big outs of players. And I think that overhaul, it made certain players nervous. I think that you suddenly have a brand new squad that needs to gel. And I think you've added some really good quality and experience into a very talented squad already. And you've just got that new manager that's going to uplift everybody anyway.
I agree, but what I'm saying is, those are the good signings, but like let's look for instance, say Socrates, right? Good signing. It's a good signing. We needed a centre back, but if you're really backing your manager and you really gave him the right amount of funds, that manager might say, "Well, I'm not going to go for Socrates. I'm going to go for Koulibaly. I'm going to go for like one of the top centre backs around at the moment because I know that's been a problem area." But he's had to fix that with what he's got. Hence why he's bought Socrates.
I think that's probably the best example of him not doing the right thing, because that is a problem position for us, has been for how many years now? 3-4 years at least.
Yeah,
longer.
Maybe longer. Yeah.
Since Sol Campbell left.
Yeah.
So look, I think that's a very good example as it happens. I still maintain that, and also don't forget there are things within the setup which have to gel. And I'm absolutely delighted that England did well, and I'm absolutely delighted of the team, and I love Gareth. He's an old mate of mine, and I think for everything. Tactically, in some respects, we were a bit naive at the World Cup, and we were a bit. There is a point to this, by the way. We were a bit flat. When Croatia changed it and went 3 up front and 4 across the middle, we didn't have the tactical the tactical adeptness, if that's the right word, in our backroom team to change it again.
Yeah.
Arsenal have had that same problem. Arsene was a great tactician in the 90s. As it rode into the 2000s, he became less relevant tactically because the young guns, the new management team, made him look a bit like Terry Venables of old.
Yeah.
And he never really changed. And when he did change, he'd go 3 at the back suddenly. And people went, well, how did that happen? You know, and he'd play that for 4 games, then he'd go back again. So it was a bit of like reaching out. So I think the new management team have got to look at the tacticians that they've got in there. I mean, Alex Ferguson wasn't a great tactician. He just hired good people around him.
Yeah.
So our guy's got to do the same thing. He's got to get the players in the place he wants. He's got to get a unit. He's got to get the management, and he's got to get the tacticians to work with those players.
It's true.
And that takes time.
Funny.
I love the way that John puts it across because it's so different. Our thought process is the same, but the way we deliver it is completely the opposite.
Yeah, it's called education.
And you know what? And the thing is, it's because, you know what? Robbie doesn't disagree. Well, as soon as I say it, no, I'm not having it.
No, but what have you said? What have you said like that? Actually,
pretty much the same. Just I say it in my own way.
No, hold on. Actually, me and you had an argument the other day.
Yeah, here we go. We had an argument. There you go.
I tell you what, you make much better TV than I do, though.
But we had an argument the other day in Singapore because you and Troops.
Which one?
This is. I'm gonna tell you about this one. You and Troops were saying to me how wonderful a window it's been, and I was saying to you guys at the time that you were accusing me of being negative.
No,
I was saying,
felt it was.
right, I was saying that it's been a decent window. I like the fact that we've done things early. I like the fact that we filled certain positions. But for me, and I'm just going on my opinion, I just felt that new manager, give him a bit more funds to go and do some damage if your aim is to win the league. If your aim is just to stabilise things, as John's sort of saying, well, that's fair enough. But
that's what.
But
I
if your aim is to win, if your aim is right, go and build a team to win the league, then we haven't done that in this window.
I know, but what my argument to you has always been is that after 22 years of Arsene Wenger and with so many changes, not just the manager, you're talking backroom staff, from physios to goalkeeping coaches, conditioning coaches, you name it, because there's so much. We're never going to go, boom, we're ready to challenge Man City. We're going to go and win the league.
Challenge the league, not win the league, challenge
I even said, top 4 for me would be a great season. Would be and have a really good cup run, because I think that you look at what happened to Manchester United in the first year after Sir Alex Ferguson. If you get it wrong, it could implode. And I just feel that we've done enough.
Well, fair enough.
The only thing that I've said, I feel a little underwhelmed because that selfish side of me wants that one big name that gets you. You know, like when January come around and we got Aubameyang, and you remember when we signed Ozil and we were all in the streets dancing and. You know, you always
be careful of that, because
I know
United felt that with Di Maria and Falcao.
No, I understand that. But it doesn't matter.
I'm quite happy with Pogba
still. You still
love him.
You know, if Gareth Bale, if Manchester United went and bought Gareth Bale in the last hour or so of the window and bought him, Manchester United fans would be going mad. That's what I'm saying.
And I get that.
Manchester United fans right now are going totally mad about the window, and you haven't got here, there, or everywhere. Most Man United fans would forget about all that if you went and bought in a Gareth Bale, for example, because it would just.
I get
that. It's that excitement. That's what you like as a fan, and that.
So is it like you don't fall in love with that girl who's got the most beautiful body and the most beautiful sensual voice that every other guy wants to be with? Do you fall in love with somebody who's actually reasonably attractive and going to be loyal and faithful?
There you go.
Is it that sort of thing, or have I got it wrong?
No, it is kind of like that. You know, everyone likes the excitement and stuff. But
I get that.
I'm happy we've addressed key areas. Like John said, Torreira for me is just a position that we've needed for a long time.
Cool. A few updates here. Fulham are closing in on a loan signing of Timothy Fosu-Mensah from Manchester United. That is going to trigger people at Old Trafford. I know it is.
He's decent.
He is. Here's an interesting one you boys will like. Unless they get someone in the next 8 minutes, Spurs are about to become the first club to make no signings in the summer transfer window since it was first introduced in 2003. Wow. Which is madness.
It's a stadium, isn't it?
We have a super chat here. Yeah, it is a stadium. We have a super chat here on Arsenal Fan TV that says, I used to make fun of my best friend for supporting Chelsea, but honestly, I envy him since Arsenal's owners are always penny pinching and Stan charges millions in consultation services and fees.
By the way, the Chelsea deal, I can't even begin to pronounce.
We call him Kappa. Is his first name? Yeah, Kepa.
Kepa.
Yeah, Kepa. I can't even quit that bit.
Let's call him Kebab.
Yeah. Kebab at Chelsea is 23, and they've given him a 7-year deal. A 7-year deal. Now that, I think, is good business by Chelsea.
Yeah.
They've secured an asset worth 70-odd million on their balance sheet, which will degrade for a short while and then come back up again.
Yeah.
But and especially if he plays well. And they've done that for 7 years. I think it's a really good deal.
Can I just ask a question? I just noticed a question here. Someone's actually asked the question for you. And they said, do you know anything about the Fekir deal and what happened there with the whole Liverpool move?
No, I don't, and I should do, because I asked myself the question, and I looked at it the other day, and I was like, I must try and dig around about that, and I didn't. So I apologise, I can't, but I can find out.
It's a weird one because literally the reports are. Some say Liverpool pulled out purely because of his knee. That just seems weird to me, like as the only reason, considering he played at the World Cup. And then you get the sort of Leon side of it, where they were like, no, they tried driving the price down at the last minute. And
I will find out.
I bet it's somewhere in the middle. We'll find out. We'll get an exclusive.
That Leon Chairman's is hard to deal with.
Oh, yeah.
We had to deal with him for Lacazette.
He's like the French Daniel Levy.
Like, he drives hard. He doesn't mess about, you know.
But I just feel that I don't think really much is going to happen in the last 5 minutes or so, is there? There doesn't seem to be.
Yeah, well, I'll just say,
this one's just going to wrap this one up.
Oh, I don't know.
This one just came in from Atif Chowdhury. It says, breaking news. Arsenal Fan TV have released DT.
Oh. Yeah, funny. Yeah.
I like that one.
Yeah, good. Funny. Comedian.
Don't you think we should have done something though? Do you know the one that's baffling me, DT? Yeah. We've let Callum Chambers go out on loan.
Yeah, I agree with you.
That is the only thing that's baffling.
And we're not signing another centre.
Yeah.
To me,
now remember, this has happened after we were in Singapore, so you can't blame me for what I said back there. But Callum Chambers hadn't gone. And what does surprise me is because obviously we were at all the pre-season games in Ireland and Sweden and whatnot, and he impressed me.
He played well.
Towards the end of last season, he impressed me. And if anything, I thought Mavropanos or Rob Holding would be the one that actually gets.
And if you've got Chambers and you put an experienced guy next to him, he plays well.
Yeah.
Right, and I am
baffled because Mavropanos never got a lot of game time.
No.
And I actually started to look at that as well. And I remember there was the second game against PSG. He never played in that game, and I was right next to the tunnel. And when Mavropanos came off, he had his shirt in his hand and he just threw it to someone in the crowd. But it was the way he just kind of went off, as if to say, like, you know, like a bit peed off that he never got any game time. And I thought maybe Emery's looked at them all in training and thought, nah, he's not quite ready yet. He's not Premier League ready. I'm going to send him out on loan. So to hear that was kind of like...
It's baffling. I mean, John, I don't know if you know it, if you can... What do you think of that? It's baffling to me. Why?
I agree with.
Why?
I agree with you. I agree with you both. Actually, I think that was the one that I found puzzling. I can only think it's something internal. Something must have happened because there's no reason for him to go. Maybe he didn't train well, didn't fit well. It just maybe something just wasn't right. The pieces of the jigsaw didn't quite come together in Emery's head for him. I just don't know. It's a strange one, especially to go out on.
And this guy here said,
have they got options? I didn't see the deal. Has he got options to call him back?
Yeah, I believe it's only literally for the year, and Callum Chambers himself.
Yeah, but has he got option to call him back?
I don't think so. I think it's season long. No, I think it's season long.
That's a strange one.
Yeah. This one, it says 5 minutes left and still no contract for Ramsey.
Yeah,
what's happening with that as well?
That's a bit of a worry because again, someone can come and take him off us.
In January, they can talk to him without any rules. It's 6 months left.
Again, this is another one of these situations again.
I know, and it's annoying. It's because I think Ramsey's the last of that breed, like that.
It doesn't have to happen though in the window. So maybe there's a conversation going on. His agents are base, I believe. So
there are rumours that it's close to being done.
Yeah, I
wouldn't. For about a month.
I know. I wouldn't be. Maybe they've got so far down the line. They said just leave it to the end of the window.
Barcelona. Sorry to jump in. Barcelona have announced they've reached an agreement with Everton for the transfer of Yerry Mina. It's going to be 30 million euros with 1.5 million euros add-on. That's a serious signing for them.
See, why are we going for him?
I would have went for him as well. Well, I saw him in the World Cup.
I would say.
But it plays to what I just said before. Everton need to do this because they're now fundraising to get their stadium in place, either through the guys we've talked about or through the banks or whatever it is. This will be it for Everton for a while now. They're going into a £500 million spend in a second. Moving it out of Goodison. So That's a good statement there. I think Everton and West Ham for me have had a great window.
Florentina's Carlos Sanchez has passed the medical and agreed terms to move to West Ham. That's just gone through.
He used to be a Villa, didn't he?
Is that the guy? Is that him? Yeah.
Anyway, because
if
they've
decent
got
at the
the
World Cup.
whole Mendes stable behind them.
Yeah.
And that.
Who's that?
Wolves. I think they've had a decent window.
I think Wolves have had a decent window. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just that sense of underwhelm. Like,
no, I get that. I completely get that. I'm only trying to think of reasons why. When I said what I said just now, reasons why he wouldn't do that now.
What a window for West Ham has been though. After they've got Sanchez coming in now, they brought in Pellegrini, Premier League winning coach, and then it's Lucas Perez from yourselves, Jack Wilshere, Felipe Anderson, Diop,
4 million.
Yarmolenko, Ryan Fredericks from Fulham for free, Fabianski. That's just
self-preservation. They were under. They had physical threats against them. Well, I don't think just self-preservation, by the way, but it's part of it. Is that they? I mean, I know David Sullivan really well, and David Gold, and also Karen, in fact, and they were really personally up against it. It got very physical, very potentially violent for them, as you know. At one point, they were escorted out at their own ground.
Yeah.
So this was a big statement. He's put a lot of his own money into this, by the way.
I think. Do you know what? It's weird. I think when I spoke
own money.
His own money.
A lot of his own money.
Yeah.
Our owner.
I have to sell a lot of
I'm not arguing,
for that.
Arguing with you.
Pochettino has confirmed that nobody's coming in, and he says that they can compete with what they got.
I have to say one thing in their favour. I'll swallow hard before I say it. I mean, they did their business before the World Cup by signing those two, re-signing Poch and Harry.
Yeah,
that
just
was,
before the World Cup.
What happens if Harry Kane?
Did Delhi get a new deal as well?
I remember the Kane one going through.
Somebody else got in.
Sky is saying that.
No, they re-signed Son as well, didn't they?
Sky is
that's a weird one.
David Ospina's agreed personal terms with Besiktas.
Yeah, we read that one out earlier.
Looks like you're off, mate. See you soon. See you soon, David.
There we go. It's one of those things. You got that thing with Spurs as well. It's just about certain players stepping up, isn't it? He does look like him. You really do look like him. It's about players stepping up, though. We mentioned it with Arsenal. Some of the guys that might step things up going into next season. You've got Spurs are in that situation. If Harry Kane continues scoring like he has done and improving, if you get great seasons again from Son and Dele Alli, the boys in Harry Winks is coming back, maybe new signings aren't as pivotal.
But my argument's this: it depends what do you want to achieve. Do you want to achieve if you? And I've argued this about Arsenal over the years. If you finish third, and then you don't go out and buy anyone, then you're looking to finish third or less the next time.
Yeah,
you're not,
I see that.
How can you look to better that if you've not really brought
totally
no one else in and everybody else around you's improving?
You know what I'd love to have done if I was Real Madrid? I'd love to have had a go a week ago, 10 days ago, offering Daniel 200 million for Harry Kane, because 200 million against the 900 million. Oh, actually, some of that's their money, so probably $500 million is out there. To pay that down 200 million would have been so tempting. Really would have tested Daniel's
I agree.
Result.
Just let everyone know, I'm sure you're all watching at home and you all know this already, the window has now officially closed. It is done. There's always a few that straggle over the line for the next hour or so. Interestingly, I know a lot of fans talk about football agents, money, etc. I was watching the interview with yourselves yesterday, John. You were talking very much about a new sort of football agency offering that kind of allows fans to have a piece of the sort of player trading sort of action. Could you tell us a little bit about that and what that's all about so the viewers can hear?
Yeah, sure. It was. It actually came out of my when I wrote the book, The Deal. The publishers put me out on like a road show, and I went to did speeches and various other things, and a lot of universities. And I think it was Oxford University. A few of the guys afterwards were signing books, and they said, "Oh, we'd like to be the students said, we'd like to be a football agent. How do we do it?" And okay, well, this is what you do, and whatever. But they were really intelligent. Not that others weren't, but they were particularly intelligent. And we adjourned to the bar afterwards, and they said, "Look, we're going to do this. We're going to form our own football agency." And I went, "Like, here's my card. If you want some help, let me know." And they came back to me some weeks, months later, and said, "We've done it. We're on Crowdcube. We've raised half our money. We actually know what we want to do. We've got people we want to sign. We now need some help on putting the actual agency together." And
Sorry.
And the point of the story is so they asked me to become chairman, which I did, and so now we've put like a whole guard around them, marketing people, football management people, lifestyle management people, and so for the first time, football fans who have previously been able to buy parts of football clubs, they've been able to buy part of or be involved with the merchandising and the ticketing and the workings of their club, and now stepping on the last bit of turf available in the game to become football agents. So it's, for me, I just think it was quite a cute thought when I began it. It actually progressed into something really serious, and it'll be really fun. And we laughed about this last night, didn't we? We said, those fans that go, oh, he's on 200 grand a week. Now some of them will be able to say they're on 200 grand a week, and I did that, and I'm on 15 grand a week of that.
Yeah, that's it's an interesting one. We have got link has been put into the description below. So if anyone is interested in looking at it, it's called the Fans Agency.
Yes.
Is that right? So go and check it out. I'll put my money where my mouth is. I'm gonna invest some money into it. I've got a bit of money that I want to invest into something, and this seems I work. Yeah, not a lot, but.
What about you, Don Robbie?
What about you?
Oh, I'm going to invest in it.
I heard a rumour that
BT's going to be MD.
Yeah. MD, can you? Yeah, it's his share price. Just do this.
What it is just anyone messes about, I get slapped.
The enforcer. Yeah, I heard Robbie's actually funding Brexit. That's what I've heard. They're backing it financially in case it all drops. No, the Treasury have reached out.
Not Brexit, breakfast.
Sorry. There we go. That's what we heard. They're the rumours.
Minister for breakfast.
Go for it. Hang on. Oh wow, Everton. Another bit of breaking news. Barcelona have announced that Everton have reached an agreement for the transfer of Andre Gomez as well. So they've signed 2 Barcelona players.
Andre Gomez, Arsenal will link with him heavily.
Well, Gomez is one of those weird players, isn't he? Where it's like a couple of years ago, it was hot property after the 2016 Euros, and then it kind of went to Barca. It didn't quite work for him there. But excellent.
They've made some good signings. I mean, the thing is, though, you can make they did it last year, didn't they?
Yeah.
They made a load of signings. I mean, where's Gylfi Sigurdsson playing now, though? Now that they signed Andre Gomez, what happens with him? They just seem to be. It's a load of signings, but do those signings make sense? I don't know. But it's exciting. I was with the guys from Toffee TV earlier, and they're so excited, man. About and they're even more excited that they might get Usmanov. So it's happy days for happy days at the moment. You're saying?
Yeah, look, it's got to work, and that spend has got to last them for a while, because I don't think you'll be seeing that again for the next 2 or 3 years.
John, you mentioned the loan system will now sort of come into play. How will that work now for the British clubs trying to bring in? Can they loan from each other, or is it from Europe?
Each other, they can loan from Europe. It is the loan window. It's just not they can't buy.
So do you think the likes of, say, Spurs, Man United, who have been kind of heavily criticised, do you think that...
Yeah, sorry, I jumped in. I thought you were going to say something, but
go on. Do you think now they might focus on trying to bring in sort of loans with rights to buy at the end of the season type thing? I think that could still happen.
So I think, look, what has happened really is what normally happens is, as you say, the prices come down towards the end of the window. That hasn't happened this year. The prices are very high out there to the English clubs. So now they'll play the loan window. I think it'll be very active the next 3 weeks in the loan arena. Very active.
Wow. So even players that would not normally go out on loan, they'll be bought. They will do the way around. They'll get around the system is by loaning for the year with the obligation to buy.
Well, it's how PSG could afford Neymar and Mbappe in the same window. They didn't have to pay for Mbappe until this summer.
Well, it actually configures differently under FFP as well, so it makes life a bit easier.
Wow. There you go.
So everyone panicking. There is still the opportunity for these sides to bring in.
Absolutely.
Literally, I've said this.
Dembele on loan.
Dembele on loan. It's happening. So what? In terms of you, Robbie, do you still carry on with Transfer Daily for another 3 weeks?
No, I'm done.
Hi, welcome to Transfer Daily.
I'm done. The window's shut. So
Loan Daily.
Yeah.
Loan Daily.
Loan Daily. There you
go.
go.
Listen, we'll still do updates.
Another idea now.
We'll still do updates, but essentially the window's closed, isn't it? So, if a loan deal comes, I don't know. I'm still sitting there just baffled about this situation of centre back.
Pissed off, aren't you?
Wow.
No, I'm happy with the signings. I'm just the centre back thing.
It is baffling.
We sent Callum Chambers on loan, and then we haven't brought in another.
I actually don't.
I'm surprised.
I don't think you're wrong. I actually have.
Fulham have just made a massive signing. They've spent £30 million on the Marseille midfielder. I'm going to try and pronounce it as Andre Frank Zambo Agusa or someone like this. £30 million that Fulham have just spent on him.
How much money have they spent?
Fulham, let's have a little look.
Must have spent nearly.
It's interesting though.
Going up towards £200 million.
Fulham and West Ham have spent more than us.
Well, Fulham, West Ham has spent 89 million as it stands right now. Let's just have a little look and see what Fulham have spent, and they've already got a really good squad as well. That's the thing with Fulham, like a decent squad.
And keeping the likes of Sessegnon and that.
Do you know what? I think it's the best thing him, his agents, his family have done. Kept hold of him, because I was worried he'd end up being like a Luke Shaw or sort of Renato Sanchez, moving too young from a team he's playing in, that he's comfortable in, and not set. Even if he just moves 50 miles north, that can just throw a kid sometimes, I think.
But as you said, it's a good move. It's a wise move. Lets him play into the Premier League without so much pressure on him. If he'd gone for big money now, then
if you include this signing with Fulham, 30 million, it takes them to £100 million have spent. 100 million.
That's Fulham.
And that's why you do have to sit there and kind of go.
And they've got a billionaire owner, and he's backing it.
That's what I mean.
Cool, but he's borrowing the money to buy Wembley. It's not his money.
Yeah, but he's backing. But what he's doing at Fulham,
he is backing his football.
He's backing his football club, and this is where the criticism comes out for the Cronkies. In that, do they back the man? That's my argument on this.
I think you have to wait.
Have you really?
Yeah, I think we do
back
have to wait.
You've
got to wait till Christmas and beyond.
I had this conversation earlier. We had it with a caller earlier on, and I said I feel that we need to back. And I said because we need to wait, because over the last year, for example, you look at the names that we brought in. We have brought big players in. We have brought signings in. We have made a lot of changes. Arsene Wenger's gone. All the backroom staff's gone. The medical staff's gone. The training ground's got bigger. The facilities are more. So there's a hell of a lot.
What big signing? The big signing of Aubameyang. Who else?
Lacazette.
So Lacazette was the previous season.
No.
Gentlemen, we're going to pick this up in a minute.
And Aubameyang was in January.
Gentlemen, we've got to say goodbye to John, who's prior engagements, I believe. Thank you very much for coming on as always. Always a pleasure to talk to you. It's nice to have some debonair intelligence on the show.
Show just went downhill, didn't it? Show just hit the rock bottom.
The average IQ now that you're leaving is at about 62. It's just gone. It's only a joke.
But now me and Robbie can have it out with each other.
Yeah,
and I can get out the way now.
That's it.
Thank you very much.
Not a problem at all.
Cheers, John.
Yeah, by the way, the link is in the description for the fan agency, so make sure you go and check that out. I'm doing it, so I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. Go check it out, have a little butcher's hook, and see if you fancy getting involved. And we're bringing Dave back. We're bringing Dave. I remember the name. I remembered the name. I'm so happy. Remember, we're going to do some calls, actually.
Try and split me and Robbie up. Oh, do you know what I feel like with this?
Yeah?
Robbie, does this bring back memories to you?
What's that?
1 sniff, 2 sniff, 3 sniff.
Could you give us a little rendition of that, Robbie?
Come on, Robbie, give us a little rendition.
Yeah, give us a rendition.
Come on.
Go on, mate. Go on, give us a sing-song.
I'm retired.
2 sniffs, 3 sniffs.
Listen, all I want to know about now, right, is how we're going to the centre back.
No,
I'm still
there's
upset.
No centre back. I want to know about sniffing the
Where?
pole. Come on,
Right.
I'm not going to stop until you give us a rating.
Don't ask me that.
Everyone is looking through that camera from home. There's
Don't
loads
ask
of
me.
people, and
Listen,
they're dying to hear it.
the tune was called "Don't Sniff the Coke."
Yeah, exactly. So,
So you're saying you want to know about sniffing the coke? Don't ask me that.
Yeah, exactly. So I want you
Robbie,
to
there's an anti-drug message.
I'm a seriously anti-drug message. All right, let's talk football, man.
Let's talk football. I've got 3 goonies in front of me. This is great. I don't know if you watched. Did you see Call and we did a big thing with Call and Ty, a sort of a big preview to start the season. And I'd love your perspective on this, Robbie. I really, really would, in terms of time for this new manager, because Arsenal Fan TV for me was an amazing outlet for fans during the turmoil with Wenger. You had some fully behind him, you had others that were vehemently against him, and then you did have lots in the middle as well that were very neutral. From your point of view, how much time do you think the new manager needs to be given at Arsenal until he's judged to that nth degree of it's being a failure or he's done well?
He needs. I mean, the reality of it is he needs a couple of seasons. You can't judge a manager, I think, before that. But whether he'll get that or not, you know, with modern day football and how it is, I don't think he'll get that. But you really need a couple of seasons. And funny enough, I was with some earlier on. I was doing another show, and I was with some fans from. I didn't mention Sky Sports. You mentioned it, right? But I was with some fans from Tottenham. I was with some fans from Liverpool, and as I was saying to them, I was going, "Your managers, even though you're saying how great they are, none of them have won anything yet." And particularly, I was saying to the Liverpool fans, I go, Klopp's under a lot of pressure this season because of what he's spent now and what he's brought in. The expectation now is for him to win the league. So, you know, if Klopp's been at Liverpool 3 years, he hasn't won the league. If Pochettino's been at Tottenham now 3 years, he hasn't won a trophy. Neither of those two have won a trophy. I think it'd be unfair of us to look at Unai Emery and say that he should immediately win a trophy. You know, for me, the expectation for him this year should be to try and get back into the top four, try and get Arsenal back into Champions League football. That should be step number one, and nothing else. If he gets anything else on top of that, it's a bonus. But whether it will go down like that, you know, I think the most interesting thing for me is going to be how fans react to his style of football, because Arsene Wenger had a particular way of playing football. It was very entertaining. Whether, you know, I know we got, you know, the Arsene Wenger. So you don't think Wenger's style of football was entertaining?
Last couple of years,
last season,
it was boring. It was
hold on.
It was crap.
But he's got a particular, his positive football. Is how he's. It wasn't like last year. Was, you know, we played badly, but he's always about being positive.
Yep.
Unai Emery, from what, you know, I've seen of him in the past, he has different styles. It's, you know, he will tactically set up different. We could see a difference against Man City. He may not go toe to toe. He may say to Man City, "We're just going to sit in and try and counter attack you."
Good.
So
we might not concede 6 then.
We may not, but what I'm saying, we're going to have to get used to that style. And what if that doesn't come off? So these are the things, you know.
I'd rather play George Graham style.
These are the things. Yeah, but George Graham, we were winning. So I'm just saying, we're going to have to be patient with this guy.
I think you're right. I think it's this going into the season. You've got the Arsenal side of things, your style of play. What's that going to look like?
22 years we've been used to that style.
Exactly, and it's going to take some of the players. It's going to take them a bit of time to change. And the interesting thing is, why I think it's important to stick with a manager, especially if you're changing styles. And I think if you've got a club ethos and setup like Bayern Munich have, Barcelona are the best example, where the coaches come in to coach a certain style of football. They have nothing to do with transfers. They don't touch the youth academy. They don't touch the scouting networks. It's fine. When you're at a club like Arsenal, the way Man United is set up, I think the most dangerous thing you can do is have a conveyor belt of managers. Because if I look at my club, and I think it's a great parallel, as we mentioned a few times, because of the long-standing life we had with Wenger and Fergie respectively, you're in a situation whereby United players, the coaching staff, the scouts, the youngsters, in a 5-year period have had 4 managers with different styles, different tactics. They want the scouts to go out and look at different types of players. For me, you're not creating any type of consistency that's going to be conducive with becoming overly successful. If you want to build a model like Chelsea's, where you have a director of football and again the managers only coach that first team, then I think you need to set that up from the start. And
I think Arsenal's new setup is like that now. It's like Chelsea's, where Unai Emery is the coach. He's been brought in as a coach. All, you know, Mislintat and Sanelli have bought these players.
Well, then,
hasn't really the only sort of player really that Unai Emery was looking to purchase, which would have been his buy, would have been if we would have got Nzonzi. But all the other guys, all those other players, those have been like Sanelli.
So do you think Arsenal will dictate the style then? Will they say to him that it needs to be entertaining? Although you do need to adjust depending on who you're playing. I think it's very, very. I don't. The one thing I dislike about Pep's style, or sometimes Klopp's style, is that they play the same way against everybody, and you know what, you can come unstuck in certain big games. Like, you know, if City were a little more defensive away at Anfield in the first leg of the Champions League, they may not have been knocked out. But it's that whole I play one way only. Would you like to see Emre sort of play attacking, expansive football against 95%, but maybe against 2 or 3 teams that you know are better than you right now, let's be more reserved and counter?
I think definitely we want to see a change in tactics, and I think we're gonna see that. when Emery came in, one of the things that Gazidis was saying was that they want to kind of continue on, the sort of flair type style of football that Arsenal played in the past. They want to continue on bringing in youngsters and stuff like that. But I think definitely he's a different style of manager than Arsene Wenger. He's not always going to be attacking. And like DT said, that could be a good thing for Arsenal because, we've seen so many games where we played a City and they're way better than us and we try and go toe-to-toe and we end up getting hammered. So it's needed, but I'm just saying a fan's going to be, this is going to be part of that process of, getting used to a new style because it's going to be different. And if for 22 years you've been watching attacking football, if you maybe go and watch 3-4 games in a row and we're park the bus, you're going to have to be used to that because their manager might look at it and say, well, first 2 games we got Man City at home, Chelsea away. I'm parking the bus in those 2 games.
Do you know what? No, I do not think that's the wrong way of doing it. We're going to jump into some calls now. Javon's going to put them through to us, see what some of the fans out there have got to say.
Well, if we win our opening 2 games, we're going to win the league.
You sound like Ty. Hello.
D-Ty.
Welcome to FanPark Live. What's your name?
It's John.
Hello, John. Who do you support, mate?
Arsenal.
Lovely, mate. What's on your mind? What do you want to say?
I just want to talk about, this Kroenke, butting up the whole of Arsenal. I just think that it just feels like that he's only in it for the money and that they might just become a mid-table team and with all the TV rights and all the money available that he's there just to pull the money out,
What'd you make of that, Robbie?
I don't know about mid-table, I mean, we've still got some really, really good players at Arsenal. Remember, in our squad at the moment, we've got Lacazette, Aubameyang, Ozil, Ramsey. These are top players. However, I in agreement with that gentleman when he says, I want to see my clubs, I want to see Kroenke put his money where his mouth is. When he signed Aubameyang, that was positive. That's a very positive, because he's a top quality player. But I want to see one time when, say, a player becomes available that quite a few clubs are after, that we're in the mix to get and we pull it off. I've not seen that since Kroenke's been here, really. We get signings done sometimes, a lot of them we're fortunate. The Lacazette thing, he was going to Atletico Madrid, remember? And they had the transfer ban and we managed to slip in there. I want to see like one time when one of those big names are going where we bid
and it's you
we
that
push our chest out and we say, we're Arsenal, we want him and we get him. When was the last time we saw that?
Well, you've seen Liverpool do it this with Ellison as an example. And they've won players. Absolutely. Jay, more calls, please, young man. Let's keep these coming through. Let's keep these cracking. Number is below if you want to give us a call. Hello, welcome to FanPark Live. What's your name?
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. What's your name, buddy?
My name is Isu. I'm calling from Canada.
From Canada, great. Who do you support?
I'm an Arsenal fan.
Good. What's in your mind? What do you want to say?
Well, I want to talk about the transfer.
Go for it.
And I'm a bit optimistic about the season. Just, step up and make it to top 4. And as far as the transfers that we have had, still need some world-class, someone with pace, a defender.
Okay.
And the deal with Dembele, I'm not really sure if we need a player like him. I'm more concerned about the back 4.
Absolutely. Really appreciate that call, mate. Thank you. I mean, Robbie, you've already said that a centre-back or defenders with pace, really important to bring in.
And I still think, I do think we need a player sort of like a Dembele or Liam Bailey or Wilfried Zaha. A winger. He's always... I like Wilfried Zaha. I make no secret of it because... You like him?
Yeah.
I like him because he's a guy that he can pick the ball up and he can run at defences, cause them all kinds of problems. He can come in out, he can come inside, he can go outside, and he creates lots of space in the middle for a guy like Aubameyang. We kind of lack that player at the moment. We've got quick players on the wings, but we don't really get the width sometimes enough.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think during pre-season as well, you found Aubameyang also trying to come up a bit wide, trying to pick up the ball, you know, trying to play it between Lacazette and Aubameyang as well. So yeah, I think a true winger would have been great for the addition.
It looks to me now that if we do play Lacazette, obviously we play Lacazette and Aubameyang, that means Aubameyang will be playing out wide.
Yeah. Or if he goes up to the 2 at the top.
Or maybe he'd be Welbeck out wide. I don't know, but I would have liked to have seen us bring in a natural winger.
Yeah.
Especially on the left-hand side. We haven't had that for, gosh, how many years now? That wide left player.
Perez.
Yeah.
He never really got
Long
chance
time
him.
ago.
He never really got chance him, did he? He was a Perez. He was a kind of a.
You're on about Lucas Perez. I thought you meant Robert Perez.
Robert Perez. Okay. He got a great chance. He got a great chance. He really did. Just a list of some of the... Jesus, there's been a lot of deals done today, Premier League wise. Huddersfield have signed Montpellier right winger Isaacs Benza. He has come in. We spoke already about... it's actually a loan. Andre Gomez is going to Everton on loan. So he's loaned him.
That's a good deal.
Fulham's completed Sergio Rico, goalkeeper from Sevilla. Season-long loan.
Season-long loan for him. £14 million signing. Felipe Benkovic from Dynamo Zagreb to Leicester. Is a centre-back, young 21-year-old centre-back.
He's supposed to be pretty good, though, right?
Yeah, he's one of those names that got circulated a lot. Of course, we know about the big. I mean, 71 million pound, 80 million euros. Chelsea signed their new goalkeeper for today. Do you find with goalkeepers now, like they're suddenly out of nowhere, they're suddenly being like their transfer fees are huge because they always went relatively cheaply compared to say midfielders or strikers, but now they're up there the same prices.
Yeah, I mean, this guy, I could understand more the Alisson one because Alisson's like highly rated,
Roma,
number one keeper for Brazil. But this guy, 70. I mean,
I'll be honest with you, I hadn't heard of him until.
Yeah, I mean,
his
listen.
first choice for Spain in the World Cup.
Yeah, I mean, Jack Butland was out there. Surely, like a 25, 30 million could have got him done. Or don't people rate him anymore? I think he's a good keeper. I would have been more than happy to have had him at Arsenal.
It's his injury record.
Boy, not that bad, is it?
I don't know, talking to transfers just makes me tired of eating loads of pizza and I need a nap.
I get that completely. I mean, there's been really good ones. I mean, we spoke about it a little bit earlier. I mean, Liverpool's transfer window has been sensational. I think most people would agree with that.
They still got to prove themselves.
Of course, but look, that's the thing with these transfers.
You've got to remember Alisson, he had one good season at Roma, but the year before that he was understudy to Szczesny. He couldn't even get in the team ahead of Szczesny. Simple facts. The only games he played were in the Europa. Szczesny played the rest of all the games. He could not dislodge Szczesny at Roma. And the only reason why he got in the Roma first team was because Szczesny went to Juve.
Juventus, yeah.
So, you know, everything happens for a reason. Let's just say that he stayed at Roma. Alisson may not have stayed there for a second season and may not have come in and done what he had to do. But no doubt in his quality, and he's got it there. But the Premier League's a different kettle of fish. He's going to get whacked around a few times.
Crosses.
You remember when David De Gea first joined the Premier League? Everyone thought he couldn't make it. He'd never do it.
What's he worth now then?
Well, that's what I mean.
What's he worth?
He has to be
a fax machine
at
away.
At least 100 million.
You know what I mean? His dream move. His dream move to Real Madrid was ruined by a fax machine. Because he ain't going to go Real Madrid now, is he? Not with Courtois going there and whatnot.
I think that's a great deal, 35 million for Courtois.
How much was De Gea down to be sold for when he went?
Oh, it was about 38 million, something along those lines. But that was huge for a goalkeeper.
I know, but
at that point,
now Real Madrid would have been set for donkey's years, wouldn't they?
I mean, Joe, it's great.
And have the Spanish keeper.
Yeah, I mean, for me, that was also a great. With that deal, when it was announced Courtois was going, I actually was probably more happy with that than a lot of United signings in the last 3 or 4 years.
Maybe
because
Barcelona will come for him.
they might come for him, but I think for him it was always the transfer for De Gea was very weird because I always find it strange that some players seem to get away with wanting to leave a club more than others. Maybe it's the way they handle it. He never publicly said he wanted to leave, but clearly he was doing the same things behind the scenes that say Pogba's doing now, as an example, or Martial's done. Or
the difference is probably he's your best player.
Yeah, well, this is the thing, but I've got an issue with that. By the way, I don't want David De Gea to get any abuse, but what frustrates me is how some players can, like two players can behave the same way
And
but one will get abuse and the other one will get like, oh, please don't leave, we love you type thing. And for me, it's like I judge someone on their actions as opposed to the person they are.
To give you a prime example of that.
Go on.
Mesut Ozil and Alexis Sanchez.
Go on.
Alexis wanted to go, and the way he carried on over his contract thing, everyone was like, don't want him to go, don't want him to go, please don't leave, please don't leave. Mesut Ozil, quiet as anything, never said a word. I don't want to be here no more. He's this, he's that, blah blah. I actually didn't want both to go.
Yeah.
Let me get that straight. Robbie knows my thoughts on Mesut Ozil. Don't get me started. You'll see exactly what that guy can do this year, and I'm going to give him one of them each finger once he proves it. And Alexis, I didn't want him to go, but now he's a prick and he can go and ride his dogs.
He got an obsession with his dogs.
Do you know why? Because as soon as he left, he put Adam Humber in the Man United kit. Fool. What did those dogs ever do to deserve that? Animal cruelty. Not having it. Do you know what I mean? Those dogs were ours. He should have left them to us. We took them dogs in. We even made banners about them.
Yeah, that was embarrassing. I think Man United put banners.
You lot put banners out as soon as he signed.
Mate, again, those types of things. Maybe it's just, as I'm getting older, those types of things seem to really annoy me even more. It's like, wow.
Let me just say one thing. Banners are the in thing.
I know. When they're cool.
I know.
When they're cool.
I tell you what, Mesut Ozil will have a big season.
He's going to have a big season, man.
He'll get banners as well.
No one's going to pull no banners out.
Joint highest paid player in the Premier League. Yeah. But it's an interesting one.
He's number 10 now.
Big season for him, man.
Do you know what I think
was deliver?
Rashford's got his
number 10.
I tell you what, if Ozil has like the blinding season and wins like Player of the Year and stuff, then you've got to get Ozil on the back of your shirt next season.
If he gets Player of the Year, I will get Ozil.
No, I think you should get Ozil tattooed on your back.
I ain't getting no tattoo on
Just get the little
listen,
with
listen, I know your thoughts on him because I'm always talking to you about it. Right? I love him as well as a player. He's got so much ability, but he needs to show it week in, week out. And he's not been doing that for the past couple of seasons. I'm very fortunate to get this big deal that he's got. But the thing is, as we saw in pre-season, he looks like a new player. He looks galvanised. I think this whole controversy over the whole Germany thing.
And Arsenal fans really got behind him with that as well. That was good to see.
He feels a bit loved by Arsenal fans now. So, maybe this could be the season that he's... And now he's got as well, which a lot of fans have moaned about in the past, but he's now got a player he can hit in Aubameyang. He used to have Giroud before. Giroud's not really... that sort of pacing behind right, but he's now got a player that if he plays that killer ball, that player will pick that up and put it in the back of the net.
But 9 times out of 10, when him or Lacazette are in that position, they will put the ball in the net.
Yeah, that's true.
Whereas Giroud needed about 4 chances to score 1 goal.
Yeah,
whereas
but
these guys are clinical.
It's a big season for him. Chelsea away at Stamford Bridge, the second game. I want to see him step up. I'm not saying, we're going to go there and win, but I want to see a performance from Ozil in those type of games when we go away to Burnley. Players are getting all physical on him.
He put the assist in for the goal for when we got the penalty at Burnley.
He did.
And the assist the year before with the Oxlade-Chamberlain.
But I want to see more of that when we go Brighton away and there's some of those games that I mean. That's what I want to see him impose himself.
Listen, at the end of the day, like I said, right, I personally think that the Man City game is not the most important one for us. It's Chelsea. Because that'll give us a gauge of how we do away from home. Because they're the kind of places we go to where we get slapped up.
It's an interesting... Arsenal start of the season for me is amazing because one, you could take...
I'm loving it.
Because you know what, you could take points off of major rivals straight away and set a marker. I mean, you literally... I mean, for me as a United fan, if you could start the season by beating City, it just... I actually think for everyone who wants to aspire to be in top 4, it's like, straight away someone can beat them. It will help make them not feel invincible. If you walk to over 6 points,
both ways, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Equally,
also lose,
equally,
if we
exactly.
lose the first 2 games, then you'll have people asking for Arsene Wenger to return. And then if we win the first 2 games, then it's going to be just absolute meltdowns of people thinking we can win the league, we can do anything.
How do you think, as you know, you do fan cams as well, Dave, with your channel, and we obviously know what AFTV does. If you sort of went 5-6 games in, one or 2 points on the board, football's dire. And I actually mean this. I do actually hope that's not the case. I actually don't want that to be the case. How do you think the reaction from fans will be? Like, in your opinions of being around them every single week, home and away, how do you think people will feel?
I know how my reaction will be. It won't be what people will expect. people were expecting me to be ranting and going
No,
mad,
I don't
but
think you will.
We've got to give Emery time. We've got to give him... I wanted this change as much as anyone out there. And you've got to now give him that time. The club have changed so much. Everything I've asked for has happened. Yeah, I haven't got everything I wanted, but listen, I never used to get everything I wanted at Christmas.
Yeah.
So, you know, at the end of the day, you've got to give a little.
It's that old joke, Santa, where's my fucking bike?
You know what I mean? Santa, what an absolute nightmare he was. The amount of times he never bought my stuff, he must have thought I was naughty every year.
I totally agree.
We've just got to get behind the manager. We've got to keep persisting with it. We've got to see. I've seen enough.
First 5 games.
Robbie, listen to me, yeah? I've seen enough, right? I've seen enough to say in chat. I'll put my neck on the line here. I can say that in the first 5 games, we will not be sitting there on 1 point after 5
No, I don't think we will. We won't be. We won't. But I'm just saying, if we went the first 5 games without winning a game, what you just said,
Yeah.
all I can say,
no, do you know
what?
You would have moaned.
All I can say, I've seen it at my club where look, we know David Moyes was a disaster, but what I saw happen was this sort of every time a new manager's come in, starts off great. And it's like not happy with the football, not happy with this. I mean, people have actually forgotten now how bad it was under LVG. Like you literally hear people saying, "I wish he was back," because we're very fickle and our minds change quickly.
Football fans are fickle.
Oh, hugely.
And if we lost the first 5 games, fans are going to be angry. Simple as that. I'm not. The funny thing is, I don't think they'll be angry at Unai Emery.
They'll be
angry at the lack of investment by the board.
Yeah.
Right. So or they'll be angry at that.
To rant about.
Or they'll be angry at a particular player if he's performed badly. But you know what football fans are like. We can be very fickle. The player that we big up today, next week, what's he doing in the team? You know what I mean?
No, I totally agree. Sorry, Southampton here have just submitted the sheets to complete a loan move for a season for Danny Ings of Liverpool. Danny Ings.
I thought you said Denny.
Danny Ings, my cold coming through.
Danny Ings.
Did you just try turning him into a foreign player?
It'll sound better. Danny Ings Gandinho.
I think that's a good move.
He needs it because when he joined Liverpool, he was.
Was he got Southampton?
Yeah.
Wow, it's amazing that one's gone the other way.
They owe them one.
Yeah. There you go. You can have one. Yeah. All the others.
Southampton.
You know what I mean? There you go. You can have one. You can have one.
Listen, man, remember we told you we'd look after you, didn't we? Remember?
Yeah.
No, we took Van Dijk. Remember we said
we're going to jump into some more calls. Put the calls through, Javern. We'll get some more calls on the air.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to the season. I'm ready for it, man. Bring it on.
That's gone, Javern. Put another one through, mate.
Bring it on.
I can't wait till Sunday, man.
Hello, welcome to FanPark Live. What's your name?
Hi, my name is Abdullah. I'm an Arsenal fan.
Hello, Abdullah. What do you want to say, brother?
I want to talk about 2 things. Overall, this window has been really good for Arsenal, but there's 2 things I want to talk about. One is selling Lucas Perez at 4 million. We paid 17 million for the guy. Watford, Everton paid 50 million for Richarlison. I just want to ask, who deals with all these transactions, paying so low for a player of Lucas Perez quality? He was only second to Messi in the chances created in La Liga last season. So I don't know who deals with this. I don't know. Is Gazidis at fault here? I don't know. Just 4 million for Lucas Perez is just unbelievable.
Can I say, Terry, that the reason behind it is that Lucas Perez was on over 90 grand a week at the club. Yeah. So no other club is going to pay that kind of money as well as a high transfer fee for effectively a player that got sent out on loan and has not actually proven himself in the Premier League. So West Ham are looking at it and going, well, we'll pay those kind of wages, but our signing fee is going to be minimal. And Arsenal were in a position where they were like, we want to get rid of him. We need him off the books. Yeah. So we're going to have to take this one and on the chin and go, all right.
Well, it's the same. John would be able to answer this better than I. But I've listened to a lot of what John said. I was listening to some agents talking today, and they're also saying about how, it's very hard to take a punt anymore on players. Punts are hard to get because the wages are so much higher than they were. Transfer fees are higher. But the issue you've got, whether you're Arsenal, whether you're Man United, when you've got players that your club doesn't want, your own fans don't rate as a general thing, you can't expect the club then to be, okay, we're going to go and sell this asset that our fans don't want, we don't want, and who have barely played, as an example. Perez would be one of those examples. I mean, Danny Welbeck was rumoured to be leaving. Who really wants to buy a man that's had two major injuries and is injured a lot? I look at my club and I think, Man United fans don't want Daley Blind. They don't want Smalling. They don't want Jones. They don't want Darmian. So why do any other top clubs want them? So all that's going to happen is small.
I can't believe we still got Danny Welbeck.
But that's the thing.
I was willing to drive him anywhere.
Yeah, but people don't want these players anymore. I sometimes get surprised. You know, we used to see it a lot back in the day, maybe 5-6 years ago, where the same player was being bought by the same clubs down at the bottom of the league every year. You're like, he gets relegated every year. Why are you wasting your money on it? But that's because players were cheaper, salaries were cheaper. Now, when a man's on 90 grand a week,
a lot of it's on the wages now. A lot of it's on the wages, and teams like Arsenal are going to want to get these high earners that are not playing off the books.
Exactly.
You know, so they want to get, you know, Perez off the books. They want to get Ospina off the books. Joel Campbell, all these guys. You know what I mean? Getting paid. They're getting paid, and they're not playing.
Totally agree. This way, Lucas Perez is on 90 grand a week. Cole Jenkinson, believe it or not, is on 40 grand a week. Really?
Is he still there?
Yes, he's still there. He's still hanging on for dear life somewhere. We can't get rid of him.
There was a player at Wolverhampton Wanderers that I know, Prince is his name, barely played for them for a couple of years, been put out on loan, and he still had 4 years left on his contract, and he got asked to go. His wife didn't want to go live up in Bolton last year, so he literally sat in the reserves. I think he played 2 games all year, and I was like, why don't you just leave? And he went, well, because I'm on something like 15-16 grand a week now. But when the club gets promoted to the Premier League, my wages are tripled. So he gets his wages tripled. So he's still there now, going to sit on the reserves all year. He's not going to play in the Premier League. But he says, I'd rather do that and keep fit and train, do a few little loan moves, and be on like sort of 45 grand a week, than get a move, play regularly. Because it's the money. The money's important to these people. It secures them and their family's life and their future families forever, and it's an important one. So unless someone comes in with the right offer, they're not going to leave. Wolves, he's got no monetary value to Wolves. Wolves can't sell him for a penny because no one's going to pay him those wages.
So Spina's on over 40 grand. Joel Campbell's around that figure as well. You're talking those 4 players we've just spoke about there. There's over 200 grand in wages on players that effectively don't contribute at all to the club or anything for the future. Ospina gets the odd game because it's the Europa League. Cole Jenkinson, no one knows where he is. Joel Campbell, never see him. Lucas Perez, never going to get any game time. So there's 200 grand. But my thought on it is that if you're free...
Although if they're going on loan, the other team's paying a portion of that.
Yeah, but it just depends, doesn't it, whether they go or not. Ospina apparently has gone to Besiktas. And that looks like that might have gone through, but we'll wait and see or not. But that's something that don't need to be rushed anyway, because it's the foreign market.
We've had too many players over the past. That's been our transfer business has been so poor.
Too many average players.
We've had too many average players on big wages, drawing big things. You know, I think do you know what? The best signings for Arsenal have been that recruitment team that they've got in Sven Mislintat, Sanelli. You can see a difference in what Arsenal done this transfer window. They got their business done early. They got the business done in the positions that they've needed. I felt that over the years, especially as a person been doing the transfer show over the years, it's been an absolute shambles. You know, when we bought Lucas Perez, that was a rush, panic buy type thing.
To shut us up.
We've had so many of those things over the years. We've got so many players that have been bought at those times that nobody really rated at the time that are still here and we cannot get rid of now.
Danny Welbeck.
Right? These deals have all gone wrong. And now what I'm seeing of from these guys that have been bought in is that they're buying players and you can see the potential. You can see the potential in Lucas Torreira. You can look on it and say that money looks well spent. Guendouzi, who's been excellent in pre-season, looks like money well spent, and he's young and he can think. Or if they have bought an older player, they haven't gone way over. So you know, it's the business that they're doing now. But the previous regime, the business that they've done under Dick Law and etc. and because it's been terrible. Terrible. We're sitting on so many dead players.
Absolutely. Top predictions for the season. We'll go through it. We'll go for it first and foremost. We'll do the top 6 side of things first of all. Dave, we'll start with you. Who's winning the league for you?
I said this in a podcast the other day. I honestly think that Man City will come first. I'm kind of debating Arsenal, Liverpool, second and third. That's my opinion from there. I think that the rest of the field, including Chelsea and Man United, can't cut it with those top 3 teams. So I'm going Man City.
So you honestly think instantly, like with Arsenal signings and a new manager, that they're a cut above Man United,
100%. I think
Spurs and Chelsea.
I think
that's a big call.
Yeah, I've watched them in pre-season myself, Arsenal. I haven't gone to Singapore or so forth, but I've actually watched them and I've seen, that they've done, in terms of Unai Emery and what he's doing with the team. I think it's going to be a really, really good season in terms of my opinion. So I'm probably going Man City, Arsenal, Liverpool, Man United, and
Arsenal second.
Yeah.
First of all, who do you predict to win the league, Robbie?
You can't. Did this guy still say
Oh, look, here he comes again. Here he comes. He's even put his glasses.
Yes, no one recognises him. They're on.
I'm going to Arsenal second, bro.
That is after this. First of all, I'm sorry, Arsenal are not a big club without the Champions League. That's a fact.
Oh, behave yourself.
Behave.
No. If you carry on, I'm going to take them glasses off so everyone can see exactly who you are who's talking shit.
So that's the first.
Of course, we're a big club. Just because we ain't won the Champions League.
So all because Emery comes in to think that Arsenal are going to do better than Chelsea, even Tottenham who've not bought anyone, it's crazy. Let the guy come in because you've had a manager who's been a manager for over 10.
Conte came in.
Come sit here next to me. I'm going to move up. Yes. Come sit yourself down.
Came in.
No.
You have experience of this.
People are disrespecting Eden Hazard, man. He is the best player in the league. That's a fact.
Get a chair.
That's a fact.
Sit on there then. Sit on there. Sit down.
No, that's a fact. Eden Hazard is the best player in the league. That's a fact. Kante is a revelation. Okay, he's a revelation. So the fact that Sarri came in, did wonders with Napoli. Napoli had nobody. He had poverty players at Napoli and pushed Juventus. And pushed Juventus to 2-3 games. So respect Sarri. So Sarri's going to come in and he could possibly revolutionize the Premier League. Arsenal, fourth max. No, they're not sniffing third. They're not sniffing third. Not sniffing third.
I have to say, second. I don't think we'll finish second either. I think Man City will win it. Because they've got such a good team. I mean, they've got Mendy now, who's back. He didn't play last year. Now then they've got pace now on both flanks, unbelievable pace.
What can I say about Arsenal coming second? Like Man United have got to gain 19 points back on City, which is going to be hard. And we've all kind of universally agreed we don't think City will accumulate as many points next year. Arsenal were 18 points behind Man United. Do you honestly, for me, I think you've had a great summer. I've praised you. Are you going to come second? You think like Man United are not? You're going to get over 81 points if Man United are going to regress massively. You've got Liverpool and Spurs that were sort of between sort of 12 and 15 points better than Arsenal. To leapfrog all of them in 1 year. I just don't see how that's possible.
And also,
I don't think Arsenal will falter against the smaller teams this year. I think a team like Liverpool could.
Okay. Can I ask one thing? So, how well did Emery do in the league with Sevilla? Did they ever finish third? Or how many times did he finish in the top four?
He had a lot. He didn't. I don't think you can compare it the same because
Real Madrid and Barcelona
they were getting a lot of things taken off, and there was a lot going on at Sevilla. And he won 3 Europa Leagues in a row. At the end of the day, you can't compare Sarri to Unai Emery.
Why not?
Because he's won fuck all as a manager. You can't compare the two of them. Absolutely no chance.
So you're comparing Napoli with Sevilla. You're comparing Napoli
the only thing that he fucking does on the touchline is sit there smoking cigarettes. At the end of the day, he's a smoking Sam Allardyce.
Everybody's second favourite team was Napoli. That's a fact. Everybody's second favourite. Your second favourite team last season was Napoli.
No, my second favourite team last year was Arsenal Ladies.
No, it wasn't. DT, your second favourite team was Napoli. You know it. I know it.
I said it, right?
Sarri is a good manager.
All Sarri is a smoking Sam Allardyce.
Sarri plays a good style of football.
Thank you.
Plays a good style of football, yet shall what Man City just slap them all across the park on Sunday. Sarri balls, suck my balls. That's what I got to say. No,
talk on the side. Save this vid. Save this vid.
I'm saving it. I'm saving it.
It's on the camera now, right? 50 quid. Arsenal finish higher than Chelsea.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay. No, 50 quid. What we'll do? I've got a better one. If Chelsea finish above Arsenal, you two get Only a small one. A small Chelsea tattoo on your body,
No
and vice
chance.
versa.
Absolutely no chance would I do that.
But you're not going to have to.
I would rather shit in my hands.
But you're not going to have to if Arsenal are going to finish above them.
No, but it doesn't matter.
It does.
I'm still not doing. I would rather shit in my hands and clap.
No,
I'd rather catch AIDS.
But who's finishing higher? But who's finishing higher in the league? If Arsenal are finishing higher, you're not going to have to get a tattoo.
Okay, I'll get a Chelsea t-shirt.
No, tattoo. How confident are you? Put your money where your mouth is.
They're finishing a
I wouldn't do the bet because I don't think it's going to happen.
I
actually don't think Chelsea or Arsenal are finishing in the top 4.
Let me give you my prediction. I think it's to be Man City that will win the league.
Yeah, that was the question.
So second and fourth.
Right, second Liverpool.
Yeah.
Right, they've done brilliant business. They were excellent last year. They fixed the problems. Well, they've put the problem areas of goalkeeper. They've gone out and bought a brilliant goalkeeper. Centre back, they've gone out and bought a brilliant centre back. Defensive midfielder, they bought a brilliant. This is what my thing with Arsenal is, that we fill those positions, but they filled it with
quality.
Quality.
Yeah.
Right. So Liverpool's second for me. Third, I think probably would be Man United. Even though I think. No, but with Man, I look on it like this, right? Man United, it is meltdown. It is, I don't know what Mourinho's doing, but
it's still Mourinho.
Regards of that, even if you discount that, the quality of players that they have, guys like Pogba and they have Alexis.
And if you talk about looking,
they've got top quality players.
Lukaku's
not top quality. I do, however,
Lukaku's not top quality.
No, he's not.
I do, however, feel
he's a brick.
I do, however, feel that that Arsenal will finish fourth. I think that Arsenal it's not going to be easy. It's between, obviously Chelsea, Tottenham, and Arsenal. But I think Arsenal can sneak that fourth position.
Arsenal above Chelsea.
I think Arsenal can finish above because I think at Chelsea, there's even though Sarri's come in, I think there's been problems at Chelsea. Willian looked like he wanted to leave. Hazard wanted to leave. Courtois left. I just feel that something's not quite right there. They've still got top quality players, but I can see them having a rough time. They're having a rough periods in this season, and I think Arsenal, there's more harmony at Arsenal.
Yeah.
And Arsenal have got players that have been bedded in for quite a long time. So I think Arsenal fourth. And then between Chelsea and Tottenham, 5th and 6th.
And can I just
Tottenham are going to have a hard time this season.
No, they will.
New stadium. They haven't bought no one, as we've seen. Suppose Harry Kane gets injured, right? Yeah. What happens then? And it's the new stadium. They're going to be under a lot of pressure.
Everyone in the comment section as well agreed that Arsenal would finish above Chelsea.
Yeah.
Well, they're crazy. No, you guys are
crazy.
Do the bet.
You
guys in the comment section are insane.
Someone also said that Robbie
elbow. Do the bet.
What? Someone said you got a creamy elbow because you spent the whole time like this, so your elbow was in the camera.
No. Yeah, but I just feel that Arsenal can get into that top 4.
No. But Chelsea against City in the Community Shield without Hazard and Kante. For large periods of time, they put City under pressure, who were only missing De Bruyne and David Silva. That's fine.
Don't forget that Hazard and Kante are only coming back this week as well.
Yes, but still, no.
But what type of Hazard is it going to be this season?
No.
Because
the inconsistent one.
You got a Hazard.
He's inconsistent.
You got a Hazard. Hazard wants to go. He wants to go to Real Madrid. He wanted to go. He would if they would have said to him, he would have went. Right, Willian wanted to go.
No, but Sarri's going to change things.
Sarri's a good manager.
He has looked into his eye and said, "You know what, Hazard, I'm going to take it."
It's how you said it. I can imagine he walks in, he picks him up and he looks in his eyes.
He looks into his eyes, so you know what, Eden, I'm going to make you the Garden of Eden. I'm going to make you the forbidden fruits of the Premier League. And trust me, laugh now. Hazard is.
I'm laughing at the way you're explaining it. It's funny, man.
It's also going to be a new. It's also going to be a new system for Chelsea.
You saw
back, right?
It looks pretty good in the Community Shield. Come on,
you know what? When Arsenal played them, played them in pre-season, they started off the game really, really well. Chelsea, right? But once Arsenal sort of played tactics on them, they were all over them, man. Their defence looked very vulnerable.
Hudson-Odoi did
earlier on in the game. But what I'm saying is, Arsenal exposed them quite badly in that game as well. So I don't think it's going to be as simple as that. I think that Chelsea are going to have some problems this season. I think Tottenham are going to have problems.
No,
we've got a transition period as well, so it's not going to be simple for us. That's why I just feel that United, City, they're a stable team. They're a well-oiled machine. Liverpool were playing great football last season. They've added a lot of top quality. I think the rest of us are battling it out for that fourth place.
Absolutely.
Wait, I want to say, who's your striker first of all, Morata?
Hell no! No way, no. That's why. That's why. I mean,
he's not gonna play if Morata,
as well, man.
No, that's why he's a better striker.
We're going to move this on. We're going to move this on.
Right, he's not better than Lacazette, though, is he? And he's not better than Aubameyang.
No chance.
Where
are you going? No. Look into my eyes. No.
Cool, guys. Right, so
He's got his glasses on.
we're talking about strikers. I'll go to you first, Mr. Have Hope.
Yes.
Golden Boot winner this year. Who's it going to be?
Golden Boot winner.
Golden Boot winner in the EPL.
You see, being objective, and unfortunately, I've got to say it with these three guys here, because a friend of mine actually made a good point and said, you know what, this is Aubameyang is going to be the Golden Boot winner this year. I think it's going to be him, because look at the amount of goals he scored when he arrived in January. I think that's
10.
Yeah, I think that's with Emery's system and him playing with Lacazette. I think Aubameyang is just going to get a lot of goals. So yeah, I think he's going to have a big season, but it won't be enough for Arsenal to finish above Chelsea. If Chelsea keep Hazard and Kante.
Well, how about yourself?
About my blood clot, Yang.
Dave,
Aubameyang, or I don't know. It depends on how Lukaku plays, but I think Aubameyang.
No way, Lukaku's not sniffing goals.
I think Lukaku can have a chance of it.
You've got a problem with Lukaku, haven't you?
He's not that great.
He's a good player,
man. Scores, mate.
Did you see him in the third place playoffs? Did you see him in the third place playoff? Horrible. Like Lukaku.
Yeah, but that's the game no one wants to play in. That's not a game to judge him in.
Batshuayi's biggest highlight of the World Cup was kicking the ball into the post and hitting himself in the face.
Did you see how many goals Batshuayi scored when he moved to Dortmund?
No, but
he lives off goals.
Yeah, right? Lukaku.
Yeah.
If he does what he says on the team. He's a
flop in big games.
He's an old-fashioned centre forward.
He flops in big games.
Yeah.
He hold on. Against you boys, didn't he? And then set up the winner.
Equaliser.
What's an equaliser? He gets you back in the game and then he set up the goal.
He won't win you any trophies. That's a fact.
He won't win you any trophies. Okay, we'll see.
Chelsea's not a big game.
True.
Everywhere he goes, he scores goals. West Brom, 20 goals.
Granted.
He'll go to, what was it, Everton, 20. Yeah, Chelsea. Man United last season over 20.
But can he score in a critical game?
He says on the tin. He's a centre forward.
Scored against Real Madrid last year. Scored against Chelsea last year. I mean, he can, yeah.
FA Cup final. How many goals did he score
in the FA Cup final?
Yeah.
What FA Cup final? This one?
Yeah.
None. Started on the bench though. To be fair, he was injured. Started on the bench.
Right.
He literally
was on the bench. Why was he on the bench?
You're honestly telling me Batshuayi is better than Lukaku?
Hang on, who starts first for the nation?
For me, if I want goals,
hey Ross,
hang on. Are they what country is Batshuayi from? Is he Belgium?
Because they make you see things that no one else does.
Who's Belgium's national top goal scorer?
Oh, how many? Who was he getting his goals against? If Batshuayi was Belgium's top scorer, they'll probably be in a World Cup final.
But he's not.
In the World Cup.
Why is he not starting?
In the World Cup, wouldn't you have said that Lukaku is one of the best strikers in that World Cup? Look at the amount of goals he scored.
He was.
Yeah, but
in the World Cup, that's world level.
True. No, but my point is that
like DT said, Batshuayi, all he did is kicked an open goal.
He scored one goal in a game where he missed about 4 sitters.
Puts Batshuayi in that game against France.
If anything, this show's been a great
he'll get a goal.
And not taking drugs.
This is true.
Here we go.
Robbie, you're...
There we go.
Hang on, who's that?
Oh my God! Oh wow!
Who's that?
Arsene Wenger's the greatest manager on the planet. Wow! Look at this! Oh my God! I've become Batshuayi. What a man! He's got the best haircut in the world. Oh my God!
No, that's my trademark. That's trademarks.
Woo! Here come the men in black. Hey, we could be a tag team.
The Bushwhackers or something.
Men in Black 4. Do you know what I mean? Men in Black 4. I'm Gene Hackman. You could be Will Smith. Job done. Let's do it. Yeah.
Tommy Lee Jones.
That's the one. Close enough.
Can we all agree that Hazard is still
No!
in the Premier League?
No.
Why not?
No. That's not even the question.
We should have a
Robbie,
consensus.
top goal scorer. Top goal scorer.
Aubameyang.
I'm going to go with Harry Kane.
I was about to mention Harry Kane, but I don't know what
I'm being a bit biased, but I just fancy.
I think he'll be up there.
That's why I agree with Hope on this, right? In that Aubameyang, he came in January.
Yeah.
Scored 20 odd goals. Sorry, he scored 20 odd goals before he'd come for Dortmant, and then come in another 10 straight into the league. Straight into
mate, he does.
Pre-season, he's been scoring goals. I think he's gonna. If he stays injury free, he's gonna have a great season.
Absolute class, no doubt about it. Gentlemen, thank you all for coming on. Ladies and gentlemen, everyone out there, thank you for your views as ever. Before you leave, please smash the like button, whatever platform you are watching on. We are back tomorrow night, FanPark Live. FanPark Live for the first Premier League game of the season, Manchester United versus Leicester City. So make sure you're here for our preview show and the game at full time. Take care of yourselves, God bless, and we'll see you all again very, very soon.
Cheers.
Peace.
You can take your disguise off now.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right.
No way. Come on, man.
Have you seen
Like he said, why is he not starting in Belgium's team? Lukaku was one of the best. Lukaku, did you see that game when he played? Was it Argentina?
By wash and go.